Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Janet Garcia, and joining me as always is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Welcome. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for setting up the camera and the lights and everything. Yeah, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing? I know you had this fake cold for the last couple days.
See, okay, here's my thing. Why don't you believe that I am sick? That I was sick?
Because you were never sick.
Is it because I'm not a whiny baby?
You when you're
no, I whine a little.
You very rarely get
whine.
sick. I think that's something first to just like say right off the bat. Like very rarely are you incapacitatedly sick. Like I get sick, I am out. I got cold. I'm sleeping all day. I'm sniffling. I'm sneezing.
You get that man cold that people talk about on the internet.
I get sick. You get a cold or get sick. You don't. It doesn't affect you in anything you do. You just do it with a air of, but I'm sick. And it's sick. Like, well, I mean, are you sick? If you're not,
I am sick.
if nothing about you has changed except now you're saying you're sick.
Well, here's the thing. This was the lightest cold I've had. I'm still not completely sure that I'm fully over it. I know that I don't know why you think I would lie about being sick. Like, that's like, I already work from home. I can just take off whenever I want. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true.
My throat kind of was hurting on Wednesday. Yeah, it was like Wednesday. And then I'm like, you know what? And I felt really tired. I still feel a little tired, but it's hard to tell. Am I just tired because I exist, or am I tired because I'm feeling under the weather or whatever? But well, here's the thing. It's funny that you say I rarely get sick. I used to get sick like pretty regularly. I feel like growing up. Yeah, because my family, another piece of the puzzle falls into place. My parents were so obsessed with like, you go to school when you're sick, which I am glad that I think societally we've moved past that because of COVID. Not completely past it. I'm sure a lot of people are still like, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to whatever. But
unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's also what spreads sickness more, because you go to school and like other kids that are sick go to school.
Yeah.
And I think in general, when you're going to school, it's just so much easier to get sick because you're around so many people.
Yeah.
It's hard to get sick when you're working from home. Like, I'm really only in contact with like a couple people. So I think that's also why I don't get sick as often. But something I learned, which this is common sense, but I never really got to experience it until I was like old enough to like be in charge of myself. Mm-hmm. If you just rest,
you don't
that
takes care of a lot.
You can just kind of like bounce back pretty quick. And I just used to never rest. So I would be sick literally for like 7+ days. I would be sick because I would be doing the same stuff I'm always doing. I'm going to school. I'm like, the day is the same. Life
has not changed.
Life's not allowed to change. You just feel awful as you're doing everything. And eventually your body just, is done being sick. So that's why I was like, okay, I got to get on this now, because we have, Coachella on Sunday. We're recording this on Saturday, and the Super Bowl's also on Sunday, which we don't do anything big, but I want to have the energy to defrost some food, essentially.
Yeah.
Make my deviled eggs and stuff like that. And then Monday we had the Lakers game, so it's like I really gotta I need to recover.
You gotta lock in.
Yeah, I'm like, I cannot be not feeling well. Obviously, if I really wasn't feeling well, I'm like, okay, I can definitely at least miss Coachella pretty easily, because we have tickets to the other weekend too, and then I can just figure it out from there. I feel like it's all good. I feel pretty decent. But yeah, like I go, basically the thing is I go on lockdown mode. The second I'm not feeling well, it's like if I can, I'm no longer working. I'm just drinking fluids, and I'm eating soups, and I'm sitting and I'm resting. And I like rest really, you say I do anything intensely. I am resting as intensely as possible to revitalize myself. I'm like, I need to lay down. I'm doing nothing. If there was a TV in our bed, I would have stayed in bed like for the last 3 days. I would have just been.
I mean, we could have brought in something.
It wasn't that serious, It's like I don't gotta. Why. But the other thing too, is when I was in college, I got mono at one point, and before I was diagnosed with mono, I had like a rash that appeared. It looked really light though, like it's kind of like well, obviously you know me, so like you've seen me get rashes before. How it's like very like slight dots, and they're hard to see because like I'm brown, so it's like they're not as visually apparent until they like get really bad. But I remember being sick at the time and going to the school nurse and being like, oh, I'm not feeling well. And then I'm like, oh, also like I forgot if this is the same appointment, different appointment, but I was like, also I feel like I have these dots here. And she's like, I don't really see anything. You don't really have anything. And then I went to the actual doctor. I forgot if it was on my own accord or upon recommendation. I think the next day I was like covered completely. And then she was like, oh my God, like this is really bad. And I was like, yeah,
Why
girl,
didn't you say anything?
I told you yesterday. So then I went to the actual doctor and eventually they tested for mono and they diagnosed me with mono. But the nurse had tested me for strep. And I think that was all she tested me for. And she had told me that I didn't think to test you for mono because usually those people are like really tired. It's really obvious that they have mono and you like seem fine. So I've had a lifetime of people telling me that I seem fine. Like I'm just not a little bitch. Like, sorry, I'm not a weak little bitch. Like, and I can just exist. But yeah, like I can tell when I'm off.
Life.
So you and that nurse are in cahoots or whatever. But this is definitely a lighter cold than the ones I've had before. Yeah, where I'm like, am I even really like sick or does my throat just hurt? Like it's like one of those. So, but yeah, I feel like I'm on the upswing. Still feel a little tired. I feel like my throat could feel a little better, but I don't feel like it hurts. Like the thing that really ticked me off to being like, okay, I think I might be like kind of coming down with something was I was sneezing like a lot. Like I streamed on Tuesday and I feel like I was sneezing like every like 30 minutes I had like a couple sneezes out. Yeah, just like stuff like that. I'm like, this seems a little bit weird. But then it's like, oh, could it be dust? Could it be like a weird allergy thing or whatever? But
well, I do feel like one thing I would love for us to kind of get back into and fix is the amount of lack of air that we've had and like airflow in the apartment, especially with like the recent LA fires and everything. Like we've been, for the most part, pretty like windows closed.
Fearing asbestos, yeah.
Yeah, keeping everything. So now that I think enough time is, starting to pass. We had a couple rains, which are always really good and everything like that. Like I think now like we can get back into our open the windows habit, getting some breezes that come through the apartment and airflow and improve, just general air quality. I'm sure like, we have the air filters and everything like that, but those can only do so much in comparison to just like solid airflow, So something to also look into, because I also have been a little sneezy, little sniffly, not in
a
like
trying to take my
sick
shine
way. No, not in a sick
you
way.
You can't have
just
nothing in this house. Can't be sick.
I'm sure Bruce is, I don't know, putting her Bruce flakes all over the couch.
Her ass particles,
and it's like bothering me. So yeah, we can look into that.
I also want us to go back to, well, at least me, like walking outside. That's a goal I had for the year, and that quickly went out the window as the city burned down, and then other stuff. So, now I think it's finally. I hope it's safe to be outside, because I'm just going at this point, and so I was
I'm sure
definitely inside for a while with the luckily we're not in a directly impacted area either, but again, the air, the wind, like we all share Earth, like, it kind of all spreads around. So hopefully we're not part of a fucking case study in a few years where they're like, turns out people that lived this time they died really early. Let's find out why, and then all of that stuff. But hopefully things are fine. But yeah, I'm feeling all right. I feel like I'm on the upswing. But yeah, we'll start opening the windows a bit more and recalibrating. All right, let's get into it. Games. Today we are doing a gaming time capsule to represent console gaming. Is that how you would? Yeah. We kind of went back and forth on how we're exactly like labeling this.
What is this that we're doing? Yeah. So the idea, I think it'd be a fun thing for us to do, is basically for all the consoles that we at least, in our lifetime, or relatively in our lifetime, it's like, what if we did a time capsule list where for each console we're picking one game? All of these games collectively are going in this like metaphorical time capsule.
We should put them literally in a time capsule.
Oh my God,
bury it.
Some of these games would be incredibly hard to get, I feel like. But they're going in a metaphorical time capsule, and they are like, so we want to get a collection of games across time and across the big three, and like that really encompass like gaming for us, and like what we would want to preserve, kind of thing. So we don't want to go necessarily just all the best, maybe, but get a little, maybe we want a variety in
those
there.
of us with taste are probably leaning on the higher quality ones, and other people are, bringing other things to the table. But we have this like kind of broken out generationally. Personally, I kind of hate the like Gen 5, Gen 1, because they start the gen with like, I don't know, a Magnavox in someone's basement. And I mean,
that is what it is. You know what
guess. I mean? So do you go by the, do you know how to clock them off?
No, I think we could just do, part one. These are the games that we're covering.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go through all the games, obviously, in just this one episode. That would be far too long, far too complex. So I think we're breaking it out into different parts.
Yeah. I don't have a great labeling for this. I labeled it as like old as fuck and then old, which honestly, like that resonates with me.
I do not. It is not the sentiment that all of us here.
Today we will be covering old as fuck and old consoles. If you're like, oh my God, is that old? I think you're probably old, and you probably already knew that before you left the comment. But yeah, we are lumping these as the NES, the SNES, the Game Boy, and then the next jump being the PlayStation and the N64. And those are the consoles that we're covering.
Yeah.
So we are going to start console by console. We individually have our secret lists of 3 picks to throw into the ring.
Some of these I couldn't limit it down to 3, so I'm hoping
that's wild. Really, you, Mr. I hate old games, game old.
Some of the again, it's about building a time capsule. It's not about just like my favorite games. We're not doing our favorite games across time. We're doing games that really truly can encompass gaming.
I feel like, especially with these older ones, this is like, of the 8 games I had, which 3 are getting propped up.
That is fair.
Something I noticed a lot doing this before we get into the NES picks is a lot of my older gaming is thanks to handhelds and ports to handhelds, because I was not, like, I did not have an NES. I have the NES Mini up here on the video version, which funnily enough, I'm like, yeah, I should go play some of those good NES games. And the NES Mini is like, from the grave of the basket I fished it out of, and I'm like, you're just a display toy, you're not a console. It's like, no, I was meant to be a console, not a Funko Pop.
Meant to be played.
And I'm like, no, you're a Funko
not
Pop.
Display.
Exactly. No, you're for display, not for play. Okay, so NES, we want to go one back and forth. How do you want to do this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I throw out Super Mario Bros. 3. I choose you.
I mean, to be honest, that was also my number 1 pick.
Yeah, this is like the no thought head empty pick. It's such a good game.
It's so good. It's I don't want to say we're locking it in right away, but I think there's a strong argument. But also maybe not, because some of the other consoles also have really good games. So
it's so good I forgot that it was on the NES. It's actually it makes me sick to think that this was on the NES.
Really?
It looks so good. And maybe I'm just like, I'm not recognizing the beauty of the NES. But like, because I played this on, I think, the GBA.
Yeah, I think I played most of these Mario games originally on GBA.
Yeah.
With the like Super Mario Advance series.
But it's so beautiful looking.
It's so good. It's stupid good.
It's so fun. It is the happiest game on earth.
I think it is the second best 2D Mario game, which is saying
what do you
something.
have as first?
We'll get to that.
All right. Well, I guess real quick, and it might be hard to pin down because I think, when's the last time you played Super Mario Bros. 3?
More recent than you would think.
Okay.
But not
as recent as it should be. We should probably, I think once a year we should play this game and we'd live longer.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You think you're getting sick? You bust out Super Mario Bros. 3, you'll be right as rain.
Yeah, it's the Sprite Vicks Vapor of gaming.
Yeah, I think I was at some bar or something that like, not recently, but like, in the last like 2 years, and there was like a NES in the corner, or like some 1,000 games in one kind of thing in the corner, and so I probably like picked it up and just did like a world there kind of thing. The other game, also can't forget, Super Mario Bros. Classic.
Yeah,
that World 1-1 is something that
is
the reason why this is on my list.
So is that on your list?
Is on my list as an option. Like we're throwing out options here.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why that is an option is because World 1-1 is, I think, like so classic, so good, so core to gaming that it would be kind of sad to lose that.
Also, real quick, back to Super Mario Bros. 3. I was looking this up. How long to beat? 5 hours. Bring back these short ass games. Oh my God. 5 hours. Completion is 6. It's like, hell yeah. That's what I like to see. That's what I'm trying to get into. 1-1 is cool, but it's like, I just feel like.
And 1-2 when you're getting pushed and stuff.
Yeah, and got 1-3.
Like, yeah, they're all good.
I mean, they're great. It's a great game, but I feel like it is, it's very stripped down, which is like, that's classic Mario. It's foundational for sure, but I think like, not that we have to versus both of them, and we'll get to it more once we have like all the games out there to look at, but Super Mario Bros. 3 I think really touches on the playfulness that Mario's able to embody through his abilities. Like sure, obviously he's always had abilities like the mushroom and all that, but it's like in the fire flower, but this was like seeing him on that cover, his little his little ears, and he's finally free, he's there, he's having a good time, and I'm having a good time with him. And like Super Mario Bros. 1, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be like a nice homage to like boot that up? But you're not like excited to play it in the same way. At least I'm not excited to play it in the same way.
That is true. But man, again, that 1-1, 1-2, 1-3 combo is so good. And you go in a little cat, you go down the pipe, bloop, bloop, bloop. It's like, it's where it all started. You know what I mean?
But also like the art is so much uglier than in Mario Bros. 3.
All right. So fair and fine. Do you have any other games?
Yeah.
All right. Like you said, let's get all the games
that's
out.
One of yours.
Maybe that is one of mine.
Did you also have Mario Bros. 3 in there?
I did.
Okay.
I brought 4. So
there's always someone who brings 4 to the gunfight,
I brought 4. Fight. One of them is weaker than others. It is just purely from a historical standpoint. I did not actually like playing this game, but it'd be a lot.
You want to bring it into the conversation?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I had Kirby's Adventure.
Wow. All right. Did not have that.
Yeah, this I played. Let me kind of fact check myself on it's tough when it's like older game where it's like, oh, I played a port and it's like, yeah, I played this on also again the GBA or the Game Boy potentially. It's same difference. Yeah, it's just it's a fun Kirby game. Like Kirby's great. He's I think Kirby's level design and playfulness is always like very tight and consistent. It's not as I think it's not as dynamic as something like Super Mario Bros. 3 or like Mario in general, because like Mario just controls in a way that allows for him to kind of hit like precision jumps in like a different way. Like Kirby, is inherently like, talk about floaty characters. He float.
Yeah, that is the whole thing.
He float, but he also play. He's adventurous. Yeah, like I will say like also it's tough for me to get like too specific because all the Kirby games kind of blend together. It's like how much is this like. There's Kirby's Adventures, and there's like Kirby's Dream Land was also big for me on the Game Boy. But yeah, like Kirby's a great time, and it's like I think also again artistically, it really holds up. Like there are such like beautiful looking games. Yeah, any render of this is gonna look good, and it has like a lot of fun depth to like the level design or like the level visual. Maybe not the design, because I'm not sure if you're doing any like go in the door and move back kind of thing. But yeah, but you're not really a Kirby boy, are you?
I liked Nightmare in Dreamland. That was like my Kirby game.
Yeah.
It was done on the GBA, I think it was. So, but outside of that, I like Kirby in like Smash Bros. Like that was my main for like a long time. Outside of that, Kirby Air Ride.
Kirby Air Ride, yeah. Did you play that like at the time when it came out?
Oh yeah.
Because
I was
someone
a big
told
Kirby
me
Air Ride fan.
Someone the other day, I forgot who it was someone from MinMax was like, yeah, I played that game recently, and it kind of sucks.
Oh yeah, like, no, I don't think.
But it was fun to like be.
Yes, it was fun to be Kirby on a star, racing around, shooting things, killing things. From what I remember. But like, to say I'm a Kirby fan is a bit much. But I've played Kirby games and definitely enjoyed them.
I think too, like what's so fun. I mean, again, this is kind of true of all Kirby games. Again, I'm looking at the sort of people's Let's Plays on it to like refresh my memory. It's really fun playing with the different abilities and weapons in terms of exploring a level, and that's kind of like what Kirby offers. like, because Kirby's, a very different kind of platformer, which is also really cool. Like, there's not a lot of platformers that have a big level of differentiation, because it's like at the end of the day you're just jumping, and they're like, well, he jumps kind of different. And it's like, and with that, is a lot of like newness that you don't necessarily get, and they do rely a lot on, okay, you have the the stars that you can like hit, and then they hit like the surrounding blocks, and then it's like, at one point you can become a freaking spaceship and just shoot things, and it's like, and again, it like, God, it looks so beautiful, and it's so good. It's so well designed. Almost every Kirby game kind of eats, because that's what he does as his power. But yeah, Kirby's in there as a pick for me. What's your next one?
My next one, which I know you like the game, but I don't know how easy or hard it would be to get you to pick it for this. Classic Tetris.
Oh, Tetris. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to that. I didn't list it because I feel like
there's other Tetris, but my thing is, I feel like Tetris needs to be in this time capsule, but where is it going to be?
Yeah, I think Tetris belongs later.
I mean?
I feel like Tetris will return, kind of vibe.
I mean,
because also, like, I believe, and I probably barely played it on it. Again, maybe the NES Mini, I booted up and was like, let's play Tetris real quick. But I believe it also, like, had a little bit less going on than like its later iterations, like the game. Like, couldn't you only move in like one direction or something like that?
That sounds familiar. There's been so many different like flavors of Tetris throughout the years that they all do kind of blend a little bit for me. But I agree that I can name you other better Tetrises that have come out since this one on the NES. But my thing is, those are going up against fiercer competition in like, for those slots, and I don't think Tetris later is going to win against anything. I think the only chance Tetris has of getting in this time capsule
that's not
is
true.
in these earlier generations when there were only like 8 good games.
I think it's wild to say that. Well, real quick, my last one, I don't even like it like that. I put Metroid in there. It's like, I don't probably barely play that old ass Metroid. Metroid's cool. Like, I ain't trying, I ain't trying to drag Metroid. I love Metroid, but I'm like, do I love the first Metroid? Ooh,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Maybe I played like a little bit, but I don't really like. Yeah, not saying it's not good, but it's just there wasn't a lot in the NES collection that really resonated with me outside of like Kirby and Mario. And I didn't feel like putting just like no offense to your Mario Bros, but I'm like, I didn't want to put Mario Bros in there because it's like, so I'm like, I threw Metroid out there, like tip of the hat, Metroid.
I threw Donkey Kong on mine for similar reasons, where it's like, I don't actually want this to be here, but I do want to give it at least a little shout out that like, the jump man, the climbing the stairs, jumping over barrels.
But also, at the end of the day, we're only picking one game, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think, what are we even talking about? It's Super Mario Bros. 3. But I get what you mean. Tetris won't, because Tetris won't be the one later.
I think at this point.
But are you trying to put Tetris for the NES above Mario Bros. 3?
It's not for the NES. It's for gaming.
Yeah, I'd rather have Mario Bros. 3 though.
Really? What about these next like 3 consoles all have other good Mario platforming games that
but
we
the
can
thing
pick?
is, like, we don't even like Tetris on the NES like that.
Who doesn't?
I mean, like, when you're reaching for Tetris,
you give me Tetris in any iteration. On any iteration, I fucking love that.
That is true. I mean, it's not the best game, because if it was the best game, I guess Tetris would be there, because Tetris is one of the best games of all time. I think the only game better than Tetris is like Breath of the Wild and like Portal 2, I think. Yeah, like Tetris is like, but it is tough because I do prefer that Game Boy version of Tetris.
All right, here's this. Maybe, how about this? How about we go through this whole part of games? Because there's some stuff on later consoles that I think could influence what we say here.
Okay, you're right. I think though our front runners are Tetris and Super Mario Bros. 3. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that is totally true.
Yep. Yeah, they're fantastic games. Yeah, I love Tetris. I would take, like, again, if it was just ranking like better game, yeah, Tetris wins because it's just literally better. But Super Mario Bros. 3.
Super Mario Bros. 3 is I mean, it's one of the, it's a GOAT.
And I think Tetris can come up on a different one, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Let's get into the SNES. What do you have? What's your first game up here?
Speaking of all this, Super Mario World. I think Super Mario World is better than Super Mario Bros. 3.
I have Super Mario World here as well. Speak on Super Mario World.
Super Mario World was everything that I loved about Super Mario Bros. 3 and then just like take it to the next level, right? Where you get the little leaf, you get the little Tanuki suit, and this one you get a cape, which gives you basically all the same abilities. Except this one also has Yoshis that you can get. It has a map that has like these like secret paths in it and like a secret star world and all that. Like Super Mario World is the single best Mario game and also the best 2D Mario game. I put it over Odyssey, which is like, you already know, I hold Odyssey to such a high bar.
Which, it's never too late to knock Odyssey down a peg. Because I just feel like they're like, I don't know, like, spin in a circle, here's a moon. I'm like, this isn't very authored of you. Like, I mean, that's
fair. I'll give you that.
Some of the moons were whack.
Super
like, just
Mario
World,
out there. Everything hits. I don't know if there's a bad time I've had ever played.
Though I promise if I replayed Odyssey, I'd be like, wow, this is really
good.
Yeah,
you would.
Because it is really good. But I just think that, like, let's not act like all these amazing platformers don't have some flaws. But I will say, Mario World, probably not a flaw. Like, this is a flawless video game. Even just like the evolution of the world design is very fun too. Like the coins kind of being like that elongated like shape. His little, I think, how long has he been doing that like spin? Was that new to World or is that?
I think he did a spin with the Tanuki suit.
Okay, so
like,
he could
smack you with his tail kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean like the jump spin.
Oh,
not like the attack spin.
Might have been this game.
The jump spin is
the like brick breaking.
Yeah, the like
one
I don't know how to really Google that.
Yeah,
the little his little he just spins on his own. Like I think he only has to be big. Is the only thing. Like he has to be like Super Mario, not regular Mario. Some great yeet scenes in this game too. He really just gets launched out of those pipes like fucking Donkey Kong. It's crazy.
Honestly, I also think it has like the best aesthetic too. Like it's bright, it's colorful, but it's not like full on cartoony. It's got that like paper mache, that stage play thing going on. It's just everything about
it's
this
very
game
cute. I like that there's I forgot the name for this enemy, but the little like dragon guy, you like step on him and he gets like smooshed. He's like held in he's like halved. You hit him like twice to kill him, or hit him once with I think like a fireball or something.
It sounds familiar, but
some really probably one of the most thrilling checkpoints that exists
things
because you go through like it like has like it's almost like you're running a race.
Little bar,
yeah, the little bar is there. There's something thrilling about that. Yeah, I do love Yoshi in this game as well.
They have the different Yoshis. They got like you can hit these blocks that then change levels because it opens up like new paths and stuff. Like,
what's the deal with Yoshi? This sounds like a Seinfeld bit. What's the deal? What's the deal with Yoshi and the apples again? Does it just like can you spit it out with like can you throw up juice on them on people or I don't remember.
So if you eat certain like turtles, like if you eat a red shell turtle, you can like spit fire. I think the blue makes you fly or something like that, and the green you just kind of like spit back out and then it like bounces around and stuff. The fruit, I think if you eat like a certain amount of fruit, you get either like an egg or a 1-up or something. I'm blanking on it a little bit. There is something with eating the fruit.
Yeah, there's something with these fruit. Like I'm watching this the classic little Let's Plays or whatever. I'm like, there's something with eating this fruit or whatever. But yeah, the fire stuff is cool. I forgot about the shell integration stuff. Tough to remember when enemies appeared in what game. But definitely a lot of fun enemies in here. We got the football guy.
Yeah, the football guy.
Is he new to this? Like
I need
that Mario encyclopedia that I got. It is such a hard thing to Google. New enemies in Mario World. If this game came out today, they'd be like, here are 8 new enemies in Mario World, like, according to this preview or whatever. It might be a little tough to find, but I would also agree that I think, well, I guess I technically have to replay both of them to really see. Fine, I'll replay Mario Bros. 3 and Mario World.
It's a glad to twist your arm to get to that.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I have that one listed as well. I'm trying to keep track of the ones you have listed. Speaking of Yoshi, I got Yoshi's Island, aka Super Mario World 2? Yeah, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. If you like Mario World, check out Super Mario World 2, which is nothing like Mario World, but it maybe made you buy the game?
Probably. My thing is,
careful.
What's your why we gotta have it for this game?
Yeah. So this is actually probably the game that I know the most of all the games I've spoken of in terms of how often I've played it, how recently I've played it. And talking about games that are perfect, Yoshi's Island I would throw it out there for. Yeah. And what did it make you do?
It gave you a sense.
It gave you a sense of urgency.
No, it didn't. It gave me
whatever happened to stress as a child. This might have been the first time some of you experienced stress. If you didn't have like a bad childhood, this was like your first experience with raising those cortisone levels. But not to sound too repetitive, so I won't talk on the art style too much because I feel like every game, like the art's so pretty. It's like, okay, yeah, like a lot of these games have really good art. This game's no exception though. The art is incredible, very timeless. Like one of the most timeless looks for a retro game. The OST is, I think, one of the greatest of all time. It is so iconic, so cool, spooky in all the right spots, playful where it needs to be. There's also just like a lot of surprises and secrets in Yoshi's Island, in terms of like different ways, which I think that's what's kind of cool about Yoshi's Island. It's probably the only thing that it has in common with Super Mario World and Bros. In those games. A big part of the ethos of the design of Mario is it's easy, but if you want to be extra, maybe you can find some secrets. But I think Yoshi really leans into that like tenfold. There are so many like hidden passageways and bonus like secret levels you can unlock. Trying to get a 100 score in a level unless you're using like even with using rewind, to be honest, it is one of the hardest feats that you can do as a gamer. It is so difficult to do that. So there's a bit of challenge there if you want it. But yeah, there's just like a lot of fun, cool stuff going on. I think too, the bosses, some of like the best boss design that I've experienced. I think it's really smart to have it just be, it's a regular enemy that gets like, what's his name? The little wizard guy.
Oh, Kamek?
Yeah. Like he comes in and like makes them big and it's like, cool. Now you have like this new sort of iteration of them. The fight against Baby Bowser is not only like one of the most thrilling experiences I've had in a video game, it looks incredible. Like look up this fight right now and tell me that this game does not belong on this list. This also leans into a bit of, and I don't know if it's Yoshi's first time having this experience, maybe because it's like not his only game, but like, it's the start of his franchise, but it's also leaning into another design, like design ethos that Nintendo has, which is having their characters transform. Yoshi gets to do a lot of cool transformations in this, like becoming a little like mole guy that digs. He can be a helicopter. Sure, I know some, the haters might say like, aren't those sequences a little annoying, a little slow? They can be a little tough, but you can rerun them pretty easily. Like if you want a completionist, collect all the coins and stuff. You have also really cool stuff with Baby Mario. Like Baby Mario can get that little star and sort of have like this different platforming sequence. So I feel like on its face, it's like, oh, I don't know, like you're Yoshi and you throw eggs. It's like, yeah, if you're an ignorant slut, you think
throwing
that.
Eggs is also pretty good. Let's not discount the throwing eggs.
Yes, and there's two ways to do it. You can do it on the auto, like just catch it, or you can like hold it and hard aim it. And yeah, I think they get a lot of juice out of that orange. Like you're not just throwing eggs at enemies. You can like consume them, spit them back out. There's like different interactions with the eggs. This also, I don't know if it's the game that introduces it, but this game features Fat Shy Guy. Are you familiar with our Lord and Savior, Fat Shy Guy? He is now actually I think maybe Paper Mario introduced Fat Shy Guy. So again, don't have me about Fat Shy Guy.
Okay.
But specifically Fat Shy Guy in Yoshi's Island. He was great. And you know what he did? They could have just said, oh, he a big boy. That's it. Maybe he's a little harder to kill. No. They went for when you went, I think, because can you eat Fat Shy Guy? You can get like a fat egg from Fat Shy Guy or something like that. Maybe I'm butchering that slightly, but like fat eggs definitely exist in the game. I just can't remember. I'm like, can you really just eat Fat Shy Guy? It feels like you'd have to do more work to do that. I think the game also has like a really cool combination of being very cute. And it's just kind of maybe the core of one of the things that has defined gaming for me, which is cute stuff, but actually it wants to kill you. And that's like a lot of the game. Like the game has stuff that on its face seems really cute. And then it's like, actually, this is very deadly. Things like the enemy that's just like a flower with a bunch of petals, but like the petals can basically like end up shooting out at you. But yeah, every screen of Yoshi's Island looks like you gave a coloring book to the most talented color person that like you've ever like colorist or whatever. Coloring book person. I don't know what is a good word for that. That doesn't sound vaguely racial. Yeah, the colorer. Yeah, because colorist, that just makes it sound like you're racist against different shades of people, which is really bad. But like you think about those people that are really talented at like they'll do like the gradations and like the shading and all that. That's how Yoshi's Island is. With like the ways that it even just depicts like a night sky having like a gradient to it is so cool. Yeah, there's just like so many really smart and interesting interactions like throughout. Stuff like, you know, I'm looking at just even like a gif of this game where like you can have Shy Guys fall onto spikes and then you can run over their heads so that you don't hit the spike. Like there's so many cool, smart, interesting things going on in this game. And it's also just fun to play. Like obviously all the secrets and stuff, like, that's cool, that's extra stuff, but like it is a fun, exciting game that really, really lives up. Yeah, this game's incredible. But what was your experience with Yoshi's Island? Did you play much of?
I never played it.
Oh my god,
I didn't
Isaiah.
like it.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it.
All of that to say, I appreciate what it did.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it much.
Is it because of the baby? You don't want to pick up the baby?
The baby was annoying. Baby Mario was just annoying. It was dumb. And again, this is coming off of Super Mario World.
It was
where I'm
dumb.
like,
He was separated from his brother. They're trying to save lives.
Even as a kid, I was like, oh, Super Mario World, this is like one of the greatest things ever in my lifetime. And you want me to go? And this guy who I was just playing as, he's a badass. He's jumping, he's just flying, he's doing all types of stuff. Now he's a baby, and he's a whiny baby at that. And I'm playing this dinosaur that I sacrifice on a whim at any moment just to make it further.
You're not just playing a dinosaur.
Him as a baby.
You're playing a bunch of dinosaurs. It's Yoshi's Island. Every level is a new Yoshi picks up the baby.
Yeah.
So Yoshi plays like a million characters in this game.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
That's wild. But it was just the baby annoyed you, like he got hit.
Yeah,
like,
the
I don't want
baby
to pick
annoyed
this
me.
baby.
The mechanics, like,
have you thought about getting better at the game so you didn't lose the baby as much? Because I feel like that's the thing too. Everyone always complains with the baby. How often y'all dropping this baby? Because I don't drop the baby that often.
I also don't really love the art style. Like, I think it's cool, but it's so jarring.
Oh
like, it's not
gosh.
smooth and clean. It's like you said, it's like you gave someone. You said it looks like you gave the best colorist coloring book and told him to fill it in. Yeah, we got some saying
colorist because it's not the right word for it.
The best colorer coloring book, and then they like colored it in. I feel like it's like you gave a.
Oh, actually, correction. Colorist, that is the right word for it. It just is hard because it also means someone that's like racist in a specific way. But yeah, colorist. In comics, a colorist is responsible for adding color to black and white line art. I thought that would, but when I said it, I was like, I don't like how that comes out.
The color. I feel like that's like. It's more like when you give a 6-year-old child crayons and tell them to not only fill in the colors but also draw the line art. Like
how talented is a 6-year-old? If you think a 6-year-old can crank this out,
a 6-year-old with very good like hand-eye coordination, but their art style, their art execution. If our really
child starts drawing this,
some years,
we're sending them straight to like an art academy.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
what do you mean, Isaiah?
Totally agree with that, but. It's just
so good. The hills in the background sometimes have smiley faces.
Well, how about this?
But thank you for speaking your truth. It couldn't have been. Actually, I think for you it was easy because like you don't really care like that, which also like that's valid. I don't need everybody to like my games.
I don't want to start getting into the sort of trades that we're going to be doing to get what we want in this time capsule yet. So, but I have offers to make once we're actually like choosing things.
Yeah. What's your next one? Because so far we got Super Mario. I also had Super Mario World as well. So okay. I only have one left to share, which is also another. Did I even play this game? I'm not really sure.
My next one is Super Metroid. I think.
Okay.
You said you had Metroid for the NES, or you considered Metroid for the NES. To me, I only like really even half considered it. I was like, oh no, Super Metroid is just such a better game. It was more fun. I played it in recent years, like, you know.
Yeah, you played it. Did you just play it through
in our old apartment? So
okay, was it through like do they have it on like Nintendo Online?
Nah, I found a way to play it. Yeah, I found a way to play it. And
you don't gotta say anymore. That's all right.
And it was good. It was great. It was a fantastic time. Great game. But I did Metroid, I did Metroid, Super Metroid, and then Metroid Fusion. All three of them are great. This one I think was one that really stuck with me.
So you think this one's the best one?
I don't think it's the best one, but I think they got progressively better with like each one. From what I remember also, right? I think I messed up and said earlier that like Super Mario World was the stage play one. We're like, no, that's Bros 3. And it's like, so my memory is always a little faulty. Mm-hmm. But I think Super Metroid, solid time. I remember playing it and I remember having a good time with it. I don't remember having a better time than like some of these other games, but
Oh, for Super Metroid?
Showing it out. Yeah, throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't know for sure that I played Super Metroid. I gotta be honest with you. It kind of feels like maybe I did. And the thing is, like, Samus is always fighting the same kind of shit. So it's just
no, for real.
It's like, girl, I don't really know where we were at. Like, I have the same problem with Castlevania. Like, games that had like big franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I remember playing this, and it's like, but what did you play from it? I'm like, it was Metroid. Like, with the exception of Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is like my golden child of gaming. I think that game is incredible. I'm a little scared to replay it because I worry it'll be a lot harder than I remembered it being, and that'll piss me off. So it's like, maybe it's good as a memory. My other pick was also just kind of a like, did I even really play the Donkey Kong Country?
I had that. That was my other pick.
Was
too.
that you there for the honor of Donkey Kong? Because you don't rock with the Kong, right?
I don't necessarily like the games like that. Like I like them fine. But I do remember playing Donkey Kong Country as a kid and like having some fun with it. And again, it's about the time cap. I'm here for the time capsule.
I played Land more than I think Country, but I think I did play because Land was like a version of Country actually, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah, I was Googling it before the show, and I'm like, what's up with like, and now the Donkey Kong keep getting remade and stuff. So I'm like, oh, HD 2D collection. Yeah. I was like, who's what, the whatever. And yeah, apparently Land was like it slightly changes like the level design, the bosses, but it's like based on Country. It's like it condenses, this is Wikipedia, condenses the side-scrolling gameplay of the SNES Donkey Kong Country for handheld with different level design and boss fights. And there's like some other maybe stuff that's slightly different or whatever, but so that's kind of my like light asterisk where it's like, how much did I play Country versus I played Land. I mean, I got Land now. You saw me playing Land the other day, which I feel like seeing me play Land, it wasn't really like the best sell on Country, but bigger screen, be able to see colors, like it just kind of,
You ain't gotta sell me on Country. You gotta really sell me on Land.
Well, Land is just like a different version of Country, but maybe it's a worse version. I don't know.
Exactly.
But the worst version is still a good time to me. So Donkey Kong Country, tip of the hat. I think the thing with Donkey Kong is I feel like it does kind of get better with time, the series. So like, again, my favorite Donkey Kong is still Tropical Freeze. So it's just kind of like, well, and I can maybe like concede some of the, admittedly, maybe like Wii games that were like ports to the 3DS or something, but like Donkey Kong Country Returns, also banger, so it's like, okay, Donkey Kong Country, yes, but also like, we got better. If someone wanted to get into Donkey Kong, I would not say go play Donkey Kong Country. I would probably just tell them to play Tropical Freeze or Land Returns, Country Returns, or whatever, and that would probably be where I end it. So it is kind of like it's so old that we're like, we kind of like, it's not as drastic as like playing really, really old Zelda where it's like the same thing but very recontextualized because it is visually still just like a 2D game, but
sure.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Also, a little surprised no Zeldas come up on either of our lists.
The old Zeldas are not good. I do not enjoy the old Zeldas.
I just be like, well, I actually didn't play them, so I can't tell you that.
Not until GBA was I like, okay, now I'm starting to get what this Zelda stuff is about. You know what I mean?
Even Link to the Past didn't do anything for you?
Nah.
No? What's going on there? I never played it, I don't think.
That was the one.
And everyone tells me that like that holds up okay. It looks nice. I don't know.
This might have been the one that I bounced on.
I gotta give these a go, but Zelda be hard. Like, you gotta be thinking a lot. We're going back and forth. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I want all that.
I feel like
this has me in the mood though to boot up these mini consoles and just start like having a good time.
They're right here. They're ready now.
Because also like I ain't trying to be that guy because I don't think I think there's great games all the time of varying degrees, but at the same time like. I'm out here covering all these games now, but like, there's some good games in the chamber that we already have ready.
No, for real.
Yeah. So, well, sorry, Zelda. Zelda is similar for me. Like, I didn't get into Zelda until like handheld Zelda and Wind Waker. So I'm actually like, despite I do consider myself a Zelda fan, but I actually don't have as much like. There are some big historical gaps there for me in Zelda. Like, I barely played what's that game I felt? Minish Cap? Loved Minish Cap. But I barely played that like a year ago, which granted, that was a phenomenal game.
Played it.
Yeah. Also very lost in there. But I was streaming too. I was like, guys, we've gone through this room like 9 times. Like, I don't think I know how I'm going.
I think also for me at least, one of the reasons why Zelda has not been brought up. Not only that did I not enjoy the ones from these like this era, but also I know that Zelda's coming back later generations. You know what I mean? Like there's, I can almost guarantee there's going to be a Zelda somewhere in this time capsule.
Is our big contender then Super Mario Worlds for this because you hate Yoshi's Island? It's wild that you hate Yoshi's Island, but like I kind of get it because it's like it's kind of funky. So I feel like you hate like funky fun.
It. I am willing.
This is why you're not going to like Donkey
it.
Kong because it has Funky Kong in it, and you're like, it's too fun. It's like too like goofy.
But he just seems weird.
Funky Kong?
Yeah.
You don't want to funk with the Kong? You can surf over the spikes.
He just seems a little weird.
He's just easy mode.
I'm down to try it again.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is really great.
Yeah, I don't know when and if we'll boot up.
If you want a game, I would be down to play with you. Well, here's the thing: I want permission to be able to continue playing it if you end up hating it, and I also want you to be honest if you hate it. I would love to play the Donkey Kong Country Returns HD that just came out on the Switch. I think that got that name right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has 2-player if you're down, but I don't know if you're, you know what I mean? Like you don't be enjoying these.
I am down to try it, and if I want to bow out, you are more than happy. More than
welcome. It's Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Keep playing without
it came out January 16th. Kyle Hilliard was like, I've never felt more alive than playing this game.
Wow.
He didn't literally say that, but that's basically what his sentiment was. Another really funny thing, this is like getting so off topic, but there was a clip from the show where he was like, I feel like, I don't know what the context was of this because I wasn't on the episode, but he was like, Donkey Kong Country, like, I don't know, it just feels like a real place to me, which is so funny. Kyle, you're so funny for that. God. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country is great though. Shout out to Donkey Kong. Okay, N64.
I would say Game Boy. I think that came before N64.
Game
N64,
Boy.
I think was the last.
This is where, for me, Tetris rears its ugly head.
Tetris DX, but those are on my list. So if that's what you're bringing to the table, yeah, I think it was the color. So I looped Game Boy and Game Boy Color together.
Oh sure, is it just the same, but it's in color?
I think DX was the Game Boy Color.
I will trust you in this one that is it basically the same, but it's just in color because I don't want no nonsense. I feel like Game Boy Tetris was like no nonsense Tetris.
I'm on the NintendoLife.com list of all games. You can break them down by platform. An enhancement
of the original Game Boy Tetris. Added 2 game modes, Ultra lasting 3 minutes and versus CPU against computer, a profile save feature, and color graphics. In addition, the game's rotation system had a glitch which let players move any tetromino, except 0, holding upward by holding the direction against the wall or rotating it in the opposite direction.
I kind of remember that.
Okay, this is from Fandom, by the way, that I'm reading from. I mean, okay, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who this is. I've never seen her before. I'm not familiar with her. She looks really like fancy, smanchy. She's got all these background images.
DX was the one that I played. But on the Game Boy that was the one I had because it had the Game Boy Color. I was like, oh yeah, colors, yeah, sure, let's go.
You were you're exactly why I didn't like that little Game Boy Color. You're such a Game Boy Color elitist.
I also played the original on the Game Boy.
Oh wow, okay, Moneybags, you had a Game Boy and a Game Boy Color at the same time. All that money just okay. Also, you need to reveal your Game Boy Color perspective history because
in my head, I didn't know that the Game Boy Color was like just a evolution, a slim kind of sequel to the Game Boy. In my head, it was like, oh no, the Game Boy is one platform, and then the Game Boy Color is like a separate platform.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until you told me like a week ago, a couple days ago, that like, oh no, yeah, like though you could, I knew you could play Game Boy Colors on, or I know you could play Game Boy games on the color. But to me that was just like, oh yeah, that was just backwards compatible. Like
yeah, no. Though to be clear for the audience and for you, even though you already know this because I told you off stream or off the episode, it did have some exclusives. So it wasn't like it didn't. So that is kind of like a unique thing to like that era versus like the PS4 Pro. It's like that's the same console. This is the same console, but it did have some exclusives. It had like maybe 80 or something. A lot of them, frankly, being like not that interesting. It's not exactly like they had like an exclusive Mario or something. I mean, maybe they did, but it wasn't like 2D, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, Mario goes to the grocery store or some crap, which not gonna lie, I would want that game. I'm curious if DX was like exclusive to the color because it was in color. I imagine yes, right?
Let me see.
I have a hard time finding like the platform. I feel like
it has it like on the cover, like in the corner. It'll be like
it says
only
now.
For color.
Well, it says now in color. It says original Tetris now in color. I imagine this was only a Game Boy Color game, which is another reason that I didn't play it. So, I just had the Game Boy. I got a Game Boy Color as an adult. When I like rebought the system or whatever.
Really?
But I didn't have the color because you could only get so many consoles, and I wasn't about to waste a console request on a console that just had color in like a couple of games that no one cared about, minus like, I don't know, that Pokemon pinball game that everyone liked or whatever. But I did resent people like you who could have the color. It's like, I don't know, like, oh, I got the Game Boy Color. It's like,
hey, you get that purple, that Nintendo purple,
like, okay.
Or that clear, when they had the clear plastic console.
So though, in your defense, as a late console adopter by necessity of the adults in my life, I was able to get the Game Boy Pocket though as my Game Boy, while my brother Edwin
did that have color?
No, I didn't have color. It
really?
was just thin. Yeah, but it was way smaller than the Game Boy original. Have you held an original Game Boy?
Yeah, that was the one I played on.
Matt, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was like, okay, there's broke people out here. So yeah, it did feel very luxurious to have the Game Boy Pocket instead of the Game Boy original. But then the color came out, and I was humbled again. I was like, we should live in a society that doesn't have classes. Like, I was just that the Game Boy Color is what radicalized me, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I guess I will accept your bougie little DX thing. But honestly, like, I want that regular.
I mean, we could just do regular. I mean,
I want that regular. I want the people's Tetris.
That's fine. That's cool.
I want this Tetris DX. Like, yeah, I want regular Tetris. All right, that's mine. I got Tetris. You got Tetris. What do you got next?
Mine, to be honest, I'm just gonna lump all of them together and just say one of the Pokemons, either a yellow red or a crystal silver.
Oh,
because those were those were like
a crystal silver. What?
So Pokemon Red and Blue came out, and then later they did Yellow, which is like, their variant, their combined. Silver and Gold came out, and then Crystal was like the later variant where you can get like.
Was that on the Game Boy though?
Yeah.
Game Boy had a lot of games.
Game Boy Color. I played it.
I can't Game Boy Color, man. I can't stand this Game Boy Color. That might have been exclusive to the Game Boy Color.
I don't think it. Well, not according to the cover.
Oh, okay. Really? Because Google says platforms Game Boy Color and Nintendo 3DS, but maybe that's wrong. But I mean, the box art that I see says color only.
Oh, see, the one I'm looking at doesn't. So maybe it is.
I don't know what's going on. The point is, the Game Boy Color is a mistake. Look at how it's tearing this family apart.
So for me, I'm bringing to the table just one of those, ideally four. However you want to slice and dice it.
Oh my
whatever
God,
you think is the best.
So messy.
They're all the same.
What do you think is the best one? They're all the same.
Probably Crystal, because it is literally like all of the it's you get the second gen. And then after you beat it, you get the first gen. It's the best version of like the silver gold, kind of like they combine things there. It's got Suicune on the cover, which is pretty cool. It was my favorite. It probably.
I guess we got to pick this thing, but I gotta be honest, I'm lost in this and from the refollowing sauce. I'm like, wait, this one is like. It's like the better version of a better version of a better version. Okay.
No, it is the again, like how they, well, I mean,
this is taking it so far.
Do you know like the Ruby Sapphire and then
I know
Emerald
that
came
stuff,
out? Yeah, it's like the Emerald, where it's like the original two came out, and then they do a third one that like sort of combines the best Pokemon and elements of the two, where you can like usually get both the legendaries.
Well, Crystal is like the
whatever.
Yellow to that second gen, basically.
You can think of it, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You can think of it like that.
Well, I mean, I think by way of, I don't think I played Crystal. Surprise!
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this? I mean, I've seen like this game before. The cover art is very cool. What's the name of the Pokemon again?
Suicune.
Suicune. Okay. Yeah, he was the homie Suicune. Yeah, I remember seeing this guy behind the fucking ivory tower of the Game Boy Color and shit. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that was exclusive to Game Boy Color. So again, you guys had some exclusives. But I wouldn't go as far as to say like, it's like half of a new platform.
Gotcha.
It's like kind of like, I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird time.
No, that's fair.
And I resented you for it. I did. I really did. I hated all you kids. I was like, fuck these kids.
Yeah. What's your next Game Boy game?
I mean, right, same deal, right? I got Pokemon
okay.
Yellow in there. I think, just based on, it's not true anymore, but for a while, every new Pokemon game was better than the old one.
Mhm.
So I feel like on that note, Pokemon Crystal would be cool. But I feel like Pokemon Yellow. Do you have any follower Pokemon in Pokemon Crystal? Because honestly, like having Pikachu follow you was like
I
pretty
think
goated.
until that, was it the DS one? Was it like Black and White or something where they had you could choose a Pokemon to follow you? Maybe it was earlier than Black and White, but Pokemon Yellow was like that was exclusive. That a Pokemon follows you and it's Pikachu was like exclusive to that for a long time.
How much better is Crystal than Yellow to you?
I mean, I would say probably very.
Okay, well, we're probably going with Crystal, but Crystal's so like soulless. Like Yellow is like what people think of.
Yellow is the one that like people.
But maybe we should speak for the forgotten Pokemon. I feel like no one talks about Crystal. That's why I'm like, what is this? Again, I knew it vaguely, but I'm just like, and again, I didn't like get every gen either. I think I did have that gen, but I didn't have Crystal because it was exclusive to color. So it's like, okay.
Did you play like Heart Gold, Soul Silver?
No, I never played those ones, and everyone says those are like the best ones.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, missing that. I played with the Ruby Sapphire stuff. I only got to that because I did the DS or 3DS version when they did the Alpha
and
Omega Ruby Sapphire, which those were incredible. So cool.
Yeah.
Love those games. I was like, wow, I wish I remembered. I wish I had taken notes on those games more because they had some features that were really cool that I remember were like not really replicated before, but I can't fully remember. It's like you had like a phone and the phone could like ping Pokemon. There was like a weird like the way they did finding Pokemon in the wild. Like it had like some type of thing added. It's like a quality of life thing. That I was like, oh, this is great. And then I went to play a little bit, and by a little bit I mean like an hour of X and Y, and was like, why don't they have like what I just played? But I'm like, I guess it's nice that we're in France. Like, I don't know, but like, it wasn't really enough. I want to go back and play that too, though, because I think it was probably pretty decent. So Pokemon gets a little spotty for me too, but it's funny because I was there like right at the start, and then I kind of like stumbled a bit in my journey
and then you came back.
in Pokemon, and then I'm back again. And now I'm kind of like, you know what?
Do I need to be here?
Now that I look at it, this bitch kind of ugly. Like, I just feel really burned by Scarlet and Violet, but
that's fair.
Sometimes people stumble in their journey.
Zaz's gonna be here to save.
Yeah, I mean, Arceus eats. Again, I'm a what's the one everyone hated? Sword and Shield. I'm a Sword and Shield defender till I die. You will never see me drag that game. I'll still critique it. It has problems for sure, but people were like, no, everyone got so dex it, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are ignoring like a really good Pokemon game. Okay.
No, that's fair.
Alchemy's in this game. Get it together. Get it together. Okay, so Crystal is probably a good one. My last one is Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins.
I knew that was gonna come up for you. I never played it, so I don't have good or bad to say about it.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately,
I kind of feel like you'd hate it, if I'm being honest.
I probably would if I had to guess.
And you hate fun. This game,
is it fun, or did you just have fun playing it? You know what I mean?
Both. I think genuinely both. And at least like one or two lists on the internet half agrees with me. I feel like it comes up a little bit. So Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins. I'll try to keep it brief because I went pretty long on Yoshi's Island, but it's nice to like have games that like some of these are so old that it's like it was fun, and you don't have a lot of Super Mario 6 Golden Coins is one that I have played recently that I've played multiple times. It's a really great time, and it is on the Nintendo Online service. So if you have that, I'd highly encourage you to go check it out. It's funny because I do a lot of reaction streams to things, and one thing that like the haters will say is like, you're not like excited about them being like a release date for Zabumafu 3. I'm like, I don't know, like it's cool to know it, but like whatever. When they showed Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins, I was like, yeah, let's go. Like I was like, this would be like my, how like on the documentaries they'll be like, this is how fans reacted to Last of Us 2. And they're like, oh my God. Like that was me, but for this fucking Super Mario 6 Golden Coins. Cause I feel like this is the unsung banger of Mario's history. This is the most, it does come up in some lists, so I'm not going to say it's like completely slept on, but this is like the most slept on Mario game. You want to talk about fun transformations? Meet Bunny Mario. He goes, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. His little ears, they flip and they flap. When you end the levels, you ring a little bell.
Yeah.
And that's fun. But also, like, the thing I really love about this game is it's weird as fuck. And I do think the platforming is good. Like, to just throw that out there. Like, it controls and feels as good as, like, what you'd expect from a Mario. But this game is I feel like one of the only Mario games that embraces the existence of our real lived reality in the context of Mario. What do I mean by that? You fight the 3 little pigs in this game. Like,
oh, really?
Yes.
All right. That's
you
cool.
go into a world called Mario World where it's maybe it's not called Mario World. I have to look it up. 6 golden coins. Oh God, I can't spell worlds. It's like Mario World or Mario Land or something. And there is like, it's a big animatronic, like giant Mario statue that you're traversing. And the one that's on his crotch is a ball world.
Yeah,
like, it's weird. You fight ants in this game. You know how you hate bugs?
Yeah.
You can kill a bunch of ants in this game. Also, and I hate to spoil the game too much, at one point he goes to outer space. I'm not joking. It's got like the coolest, weirdest stuff. There's a legally distinct Jason killer that you also fight in this game. Like, it is bonkers. And it's got a lot of like funky, innovative stuff. There's also the game that I believe introduces Wario as a character.
Cool.
He takes over Mario's castle.
That's cool.
Takes the M, flips that shit upside down. He says, "Fuck with me now." So you got to get the coins. What's the game? You get the 6 golden coins to open the castle. The twist: if you get a game over, all the coins go back to those bosses, and you have to refight the bosses. Now, what I did with this challenge was I said, I'm going to grind for lives so that I don't have to worry about the game over. So I'd always beat this game with like 100 plus lives. And like, I'm petty. So if I get down to like, or maybe not 100, but you know, if I got down to like 20 lives, I'm like, we're going back to grind because I'm not dealing with this. Also, the boss fight against Wario, low-key, like, I felt like that shit was hard as fuck. Like, I don't know. It's been a couple of years since I replayed it, but I remember replaying it on my Game Boy Pocket because it wasn't on the, I don't even think the Switch existed when I replayed it. And I was like, damn, this shit hard. And like a lot of Mario games, it's pretty short. So a lot of older Mario games rather. But yeah, this is the unsung hero of Mario. It's really, really freaking cool. It's secretly the coolest Mario game to ever exist.
We're not looking to build the coolest list of coolest games.
It's also really good, though.
We are trying to build a time capsule that encompasses gaming.
I like to remember that games can be fun. So
sure, yeah.
And I think 6 golden coins reminds you of that. It's the thing. But who's our front runner here? Is it Tetris? Tetris and a Pokemon, maybe? Tetris and Crystal?
I mean, I'd be happy with either one of those. I think if we...
And this is the problem. 6 golden coins always gets forgotten in the history. They want to erase our history.
I say for time, we maybe cap it here and let's try and lock in some of these platforms. How's that sound?
We can do that. But now I hung up the PlayStation for nothing.
Well, it'll be back next time.
Yeah, the PlayStation will return. Okay, so we got NES, SNES, and Game Boy. Okay. I remember what our goal is.
It is we're trying to create a time capsule that kind of encompasses like what gaming is, where it's been, where it's going, all the things that have happened. Using just one game from each platform.
So because we want diversity, I'm guessing we don't want 2 Marios or 3 Marios, which we could we could have an all Mario run. Mario kind of dominated.
So
for
imagine
a long
like almost like we're resetting the world, and these are all the games that we're gonna have to go off of. Like we're wiping the memory of games from the universe. So like we're starting over from scratch. No one's played a game before. But these are the games that like will be introduced. And,
I'm torn on this.
Us.
I think the only one that I feel confident we can lock in based on our discussion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Super Mario World.
I can lock that in.
Okay, yeah, I agree. So here's the question. Back to your Tetris thing. Do we throw a whacker Tetris in just to get some Pokemon in there?
A Pokemon in there. Well, without getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, do you think Pokemon deserves to be in this time capsule?
Of these consoles?
I think the gotcha-ness, like the collectathon
I think
Pokemon
generally
is something that I would like to be in the time capsule.
And I do think old Pokemon is foundational, even though it's admittedly, again, I think the best ones are probably like, what are the ones you named? The one that you go crazy for? Like, it's like gold,
like
crystal,
Emerald, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, I think is like where it...
There's another one that people...
Like they nailed that.
A lot of people do the Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
A lot of people do that too. That's like, it's a newer version. It's, yeah.
How much Pokemon do you think we're gonna be putting on this list generally though? Because we might have to
be
hit
honest,
Pokemon.
I think once we get to later consoles, other stuff is just gonna totally blow Pokemon out of the water. Well, think about Pokemon is limited to only Nintendo consoles, which is only 4 more, and I can think of easily at least 3 other games on each of those platforms that is a better time than the Pokemon. Maybe like the DS. Pokemon might come back for DS. I can see that, but it ain't coming back for, and maybe GBA, maybe, but it ain't coming back for the like home consoles for sure.
It's tough because Tetris on NES is just so much less enjoyable than Tetris on the Game Boy.
I mean,
like I feel like playing Tetris on the NES, like if you guys do it today, you'd be like, yeah, I can make do with this. This is cool with that stiff ass, square ass controller. But then if I give it to you on the Game Boy, you'd be like, yeah, this is a lot better.
Well, here's the question. Say we do Tetris on Game Boy. What would your NES pick be then? Bros 3?
I guess just Bros 3. Just more Mario. It's a lot of Mario.
I mean, do we I am not, this is a non-leading question, but like, do we want to diversify beyond that?
I do, but it's just like a whack. It's just a whacker Tetris.
Like, I think because we already have Mario World, I would even be down to put Donkey Kong above on the NES, or even Metroid, because that is, again, I don't know if Metroid's coming back either.
I don't know. I'm saying Metro for that Metro Fusion, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Metro Fusion's like my favorite Metroid game, yeah.
But you already know that's not making it.
Why? Who's to say that it can't?
That is fair.
Do you have a game better than Metroid Fusion?
On the Switch? Yeah.
On the GBA.
Oh, sorry, GBA. You did say Fusion.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, we'll get to it later, but it's like,
I mean, you know what? You might have a point. All right, maybe
I feel like Fusion. They fused into her body, Isaiah. She was one with the Metroid.
Right. No, that's fair. So,
Jinx.
Man, so either Bros 3 and Tetris or Pokemon and Tetris.
I guess we should probably just do Tetris and Pokemon, but it just sucks to like make Tetris be on that. Like, here's the thing.
But it's still just as good.
I know, but like, well, also I think you can only rotate in one direction. I'm pretty
sure.
That's
still
it is good,
leaps
but like,
and bounds better than.
I know the controller's just so bad.
Almost every other game we're gonna come.
I know the controller's just so bad. It's so sharp. It's a really sharp.
Well, again,
controller.
it's not necessarily.
You have to play it on there.
Yeah. You can play in a third party.
Yeah, I guess.
You play it on the mini console, and you just plug in something to like USB, and you're good there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do Tetris for NES.
So we got Tetris for NES, Super Mario World for SNES, and we're going Pokemon for Game Boy. Do you want to do Yellow? I'm fine doing Yellow, Crystal, literally any.
It's tough
Red.
because I wish. You know what? Maybe let's do Yellow, because I feel like Yellow.
I think Yellow's
is more
probably
representative
better.
of like the vibes.
Yes, I think the whole like that put not Pikachu on the map because they made it because Pikachu was popular, but it's like we got that Yellow Game Boy to come out. We got the Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu N64 version because Pikachu was popular. Like it was the birth of the Nintendo leaning into the popularity.
I think also though
Pikachu.
Pokemon Yellow to me is a great representation of one of the core things that makes Pokemon what it is, which is that you love the Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think the reason that so many Pokemon likes kind of fail, or they at least fail to capture what makes Pokemon is that like the creatures are really lovable. You really bond. They're your friends. It's like, and Pikachu was my friend, and he followed me.
Yeah.
To the depths of hell.
He learned to love you over time. You could like check in with him and stuff. It was great.
But yeah. And they got great sounds too. I love the noise on the
gritty speaker noises.
Yeah. It's so good. Great sprite.
Also talk about soundtrack, man.
Also,
Pokemon has just some of the best soundtracks in time.
You were very dismissive of the Yoshi's Island soundtrack. What's going on there?
I never listened to it because I never played the game.
It's so good, Isaiah.
I wouldn't know. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't know. Maybe after this we'll do a culture exchange.
It's really good.
I'll tell you about Pokemon. You'll play Pokemon Crystal, and I'll play Yoshi's Island next to you, and we'll.
My game's way longer than yours. God, how long is it to beat Pokemon Crystal?
Hey man, who knows how long it'll take me to play? All right,
29 hours. What's the quality of life on that thing look like? Is the thing? Ugh.
Look. I'm not saying we gotta finish these games. I'm just saying we'll boot them up. We'll play with them. You know, we'll see what it's like.
Again, if you just get better at Yoshi's Island, you won't have to do the baby as much. I feel like a hot take. People complaining about the baby. You're telling yourself you're not that good at the game. I don't know. Yeah, such a happy little game.
And then Pokemon Yellow for the Game Boy.
Yeah. So reading in the picks, we got for our console time capsule, attempting to represent what it means to play console across the ages. We have Tetris for the NES, Super Mario World for the SNES, Pokemon Yellow for the Game Boy.
Locking in part 1. I'm sure you will, but let us know. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube for games we missed or choices you would have made. Know that there's also still like 11 other platforms we got to go through. So, there's only so many games we could pick. We're only picking one per platform. So let us know your thoughts down below.
And now for the not game section. Today we were talking about things we do that the other person doesn't understand. And what I was looking for here and what we came up with, this isn't pet peeves. This isn't like pet peeves the other one has. It's not like, oh, I hate that you leave the garbage in the middle of the kitchen or something. No one does that. But, it can't be something that is inherently bad. Like I feel like you leave your socks on the floor is inherently like negative. Like everyone can agree that like you shouldn't leave your socks on the floor. The test case that I presented for this is it needs to be something where someone does something and the other person can say, bro, why? And the person who did the thing can say, why do you care? And that's valid. Like that has to be the setup.
Yeah.
We've been actually working on this for months technically because I first pitched this like we have a big Trello board with like ideas and I was able to like slowly add because it was tough to like think of something that fit that. I think we each came up with 4 banger bro why do you care combos. Just like the other one, we're gonna go beat for beat. And these ones aren't a secret because we came up with them beforehand. But I will kick it off. This is actually, I'm so excited about this one because I experienced this last night. Do you have your Awala with you? Yes, you do. Great. Hand me that Awala. Hand me your Awala water bottle. My first bro why to Isaiah's why do you care? And also what we're going to do here is I'm going to bring out the drag and then you're going to respond with like justifying from the horse's mouth. I want to hear, why do you do, bro, why?
Yeah.
Even though you're like, why do you care? Okay. So my first one is that Isaiah leaves labels on stuff. Like this is why I asked for the Awala water bottle as an example. Regular water bottle, when you buy it, it says on the top, push button. And you push the button. And when you open it, it says, nicely done. Free sip spout. I did not memorize this. He has these stickers still on this water bottle. This water bottle goes through the dishwasher with still these labels. Another example of like the label thing is on your Moleskine. Like when you buy a Moleskine notebook, it has like a paper flap that says like, oh, dotted notebook, pages, whatever. The barcode. He left that on his notebook. Is it on the new notebook too? I think you might pick it off the new one.
It's like an Amazon book, so it doesn't have
He left it on there for the whole year, and even it would like slightly tear, and he would still have it on there. And like at one point, I think I might have been honestly the one that teared it because I thought like, oh, we're throwing this out, right? Like you left this on. He's like, oh, no, that's my special paper flap. Isaiah, why?
All right. I think maybe there's probably a couple reasons why, right? If we really are peeling back the layers of the onion.
Just hearing you talk about this.
I think a part of it could be laziness, right? It's like, I don't know, the same reason why people will leave the film on like a new microwave they buy or something like that. It's like, oh, well, it's there. I can use it while it's still there. There's some argument that like, oh, it maybe keeps it nicer and cleaner and protects it or something, you know. My little flap for the notebook, the cover of my notebook was a little bit, you know, nicer because the flap was protecting it from
this flap takes up 1/5 of the notebook.
yeah. So that's one argument.
Okay.
Which is laziness is a pretty big argument. But if you were to ask me, can I take this off? I would say no.
Yes.
So I think my response to that is more of a like, I'm used to it being there now. Like I slash like a little bit of that it's still new mentality if it has the labels on it. It's like you buy a hat.
Yes.
I don't rip the sticker off the hat. You know,
yeah.
I leave the sticker on. I'll rip the price tag sticker if there's one on there, but I'll leave the like, you know, new era gold circle emblem kind of thing because it's like, oh yeah, no, it's a new I'm showing that like, oh, my book is new. I still got the paper wrapping on it, you know, the label on it. The water bottle is definitely more the lazy slash like it's there and I'm used to it being there. If it was gone one day, like if you ripped it off one day without telling me, and if I even did notice, I'd be like, oh man, I wonder what happened to my little label. I liked having the label there. It was nice to see it there.
Why do you like with the water bottle specifically, why do you like seeing it?
I think I don't know. It gives me what do you want me to say here? All right,
I want you to speak your truth. We listen and we don't judge.
The answer is that I don't know. It's probably a weird ADHD fixation that I have, where it's like, oh yeah, my stickers are on there. My little tags are left alone. I know that the thing is new and no one's touched it.
Do you like it explaining the like how to use it? Because that's also what it does. It's like there for function.
It is there originally for function.
Yes.
But now I know how to use the water. I very quickly learned how to use the water bottle. There's one button on the entire thing. It's not that complex.
I do think that in terms of getting official diagnoses for things, which neither of us have technically, each of us could just submit this section. And I think we need like a scientific mind to just like unpack these things. I guess for the why do I care about it? It just bothers me almost like in the opposite direction. Like, I just feel like, why is it like, I guess to me, it feels like, oh, you didn't take this off yet. And you're like, no, leave it. And I'm like, what do you mean leave it? What do you mean leave it? So,
if there's not like a functional harm to a sticker being like, I bought something and the sticker's there. If there's not a functional harm or
I think you know what else you had it on?
Issue that it causes?
You had it on, I don't know if it's still there, on your suitcase. You had that on for a long time too.
Yeah.
It was like a sticker that said like special suitcase texture.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like
cool diamond texture or something like that.
Yeah, it's the diamond texture or whatever. I feel like it feels incomplete. Like you didn't fully acquire the item. Like you're not done acquiring it.
Well, so what I won't do is like, you know, years ago when I bought my TV, right? It also comes with like a little film, and then it even has like the inches sticker in the corner or whatever like that. Those I'll take off immediately because that impacts the use of the thing.
Yeah.
These stickers don't impact the use of my notebook or my water bottle or the microwave or whatever it is. But some things do, and those things I'm pro.
The way you take comfort in seeing those on, I take comfort in removing them. Like,
well, I do enjoy the removing. It's just I don't have a desire to remove. But if and when I ever do remove,
it's wild that you'll take the price tag off, but then you just stop. Like that's what's crazy to me. Like, because for a shirt, like, you know, if you had like a sticker that said like extra large or whatever, you're not leaving that on there. You know, like the long one that like the long.
But then again, that impacts the aesthetic of it. So I want that.
You don't feel like this impacts the aesthetic of the Owala?
No, you barely see it. It's like, I don't know how much it comes up on camera, but like it barely peeks over, and the camera can't even focus on it. That's the issue. It barely peeks over this little yellow lip thing. There's like a sticker right here. It says push button. And yeah, you don't see the other one at all because it's covered when it's closed, and you know you barely notice it.
Yeah, but I was reminded of that when I was like, hey, can I get a sip of your water? And when I saw that shit, I was like, God damn it, Isaiah.
Now, again, also, if this, you know, again, we do put this in the dishwasher, I hand wash it, like, you know, I'm not worried about it being dirty or anything like that. But like if one day in the dishwasher it started to deteriorate, or like if it was the kind of sticker that would fall apart, yeah, then I'll just like rip it off or do whatever. Try to clean the gunk off, that sticker goo that like things usually leave. I'll do all that.
I mean,
too.
the sticker goo wouldn't have left anything if you're just taking it off when you purchased it, but
that's not true.
Now it's
no. You take stickers off things all the time, and sticker goo. It's about the sticker.
I think the sticker that they make for the Owala is like a removal friendly sticker, but I feel like I learned a little bit in that you said like the newness aspect of it. Maybe
it is nice, yeah.
Like a preservation. So I'm still disturbed, but I understand you a little bit more, which is the point of the segment. Okay. You're up.
All right, for you, and this has been also
I'm rubbing my little paws together.
A very long time coming. A question I've had forever is you have this, I feel, unnatural desire to just take bags and put bags in them, and then you have your bags and your bags and your bag. You have like a rushing nested doll of bags that you. But it's not even like you have it and that's like, okay, well, this is my one bag of bag. You'll switch bags. Like if you are bringing a different purse out, you'll take all the bags in one purse, take them out of their bags and put them in different colored bags so that they aesthetically match this new bag that you're carrying. And you'll put the bags back in the bags and just to carry the bags.
Well, here's the thing. In my opinion, I don't have infinite small bags. I have a couple small bags.
You have, I would say on average, at least like 3 layers deep.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the size of the bag. Like if I bring out a shoulder bag, that's like, oh, it's big enough to fit a phone, but it probably can't fit a tablet, kind of thing. That usually it's like the stuff just goes into the bag for the most part. You look like you're side-eyeing me a little bit. You disagree.
I don't know, man. You'll
like my blue purse with a chain.
Purse.
Yeah,
okay,
shoulder bag, sure. Like a little shoulder purse. Like again, it can definitely comfortably fit a phone. But we're not getting to like tablet. We can't fit a Switch, like that kind of bag.
I think you'll even then still have like one more bag in there where it'll be like, it'll have your emergency aspirin or something like that.
I will say,
hand sanitizer
One thing I have is I have like a medicine case that's like, it's like the size of a Game Boy cartridge, but it's like thicker than a Game Boy cartridge. And it has like different stuff. It depends on the kind of day I'm having. If we're going to like an event, maybe I'll bring that because it's like, oh, it's useful. Like, if somebody needs aspirin or like a mint, it's like this guy in there, and that is a container. So what is the point of containers? If you have, especially if you have like a bag, like the bigger bags I'm talking about, like my Fragile Raven tote bag, like it's like, oh, this is a bag for a laptop, that kind of thing. This is where the bags within bags comes in. So I have like a keychain bag that like is like a shopping bag, and it like and it goes down. This drives me crazy. So it's a shopping bag, like tote bag, those kind of like thin little ones. Like Bagoo makes a million of them and stuff. But this one I just got from Daiso. When I bought it, it came as like, it's like a plastic circle that has a keychain on it. So you put it back into that when you're done. So it's like which drives you crazy, I think, where it's like, why is there a bag for the bag? And it's like, so that it's compressed down and you know how to access it. It's about having access. So like bags have pockets, but the pockets don't always account for everything. So I might have like, I have like a bear pouch that has like, I'll put different stuff in there. Like my hand sanitizer might be in there, maybe like a phone charger. That way, like when I go into my tote bag, it's like, oh, I know what I'm reaching for. There's like this bag with like functional things, like a refresh bag within the bag versus like, I don't know, a pencil case that has like pens and stuff in it.
So that I could get behind that.
Okay.
Except my follow-up point or question is that it'd be one thing if you were carrying like a canvas bag and so you threw, your bear pouch in there and your Bagoo, your Daiso bag holder with the bag in there and like whatever, fine. But for like your Fragile Raven, which is kind of like a book bag, like it can convert between like a tote to a book bag and all this. Like that has pockets and zippers and like spaces where you can put these things without needing to stuff them into a bag.
Well, it has one front zipper, 2 side like sleeves, like you could put like a water bottle in there or something. And in the inside, it only has 1 pocket inside, which like has like a laptop pocket. Well, I guess it has 2 technically. It has a laptop pocket and then I think like a stretchy one, those like stretchy ones. But I don't know. I don't feel like the laptop pouch is like a little flimsy. I don't even know if it has that second one. If it has a second one, maybe I could cop to that where it's like I could just put it in the second one. But also it's like a pouch. It's not a bag. So it's like, I don't know. It's like a little bit less sorted to me than in there. Like it's like, if I want to look at all this stuff in there, it's like attached to the bag itself versus like if you have a pouch, you can pull the pouch out and now you're dealing with a smaller bag, and open it. And now it's like, okay, everything's in there and then you can throw it back in there. While like there, you still have to reach into the bag. You're holding the bag and you're digging through. I like to have more visibility when I'm digging.
Are you familiar with, I know you're not on like Reddit like that crazy. But knolling, I think it's r/knoll or r/knolling.
No, what is this?
It's the act of like laying out everything that is in a thing.
Oh yeah. yeah. Oh, I didn't know there was a name for this.
I think that you're
Oh
if
my
you were
God.
to knoll your bag.
This is like rubbing my the they don't actually feel that good 9 times out of 10, so I don't actually like them. But you know those like hair things where it's like a metal thing and it like sloops.
Scratcher
But I don't really like it because I feel like it messes with your hair. That feeling, that's like what this page did to my brain. Though some of these are not very satisfying looking.
No.
So
sometimes it's not always about being aesthetically.
Some of them they flop on these. But
sometimes it's just about like almost like information. Like someone did like there was a firehouse that knolled their fire truck, and it's like. That wasn't aesthetically pleasing necessarily, but it was cool to see like, oh man, there's so much stuff that goes into a fire truck.
This is
to be able to respond to things.
And I know there's like
cool.
there are plenty of women on Reddit. I know Reddit gets like a bad rap as being like, oh, this is where men get radicalized in the bad way. You know, it's like r/I hate women or whatever. But it's not called I hate women. It's called like gaming or something. And it's like actually, you know. So I do think Reddit gets a bad rap in that sense. Or. That's the negative association a lot of non-Redditors have with like, oh, he's a Redditor, like check his flash drive, you know, like whatever. But I will say like, and I know there's probably plenty of women on r/knolling or whatever. I'm not trying to discount that, but the girlies got to find this because it's so good. I also now am remembering that this word got thrown out to me because it's a big Lego technique. It's a Lego building technique.
Yeah, I can see
which
that.
I have started employing. I do think it's a little less fun than having to dig through the pieces.
Yeah,
but it is more effective. But it's like. It almost takes the fun out of the like. I've started knolling for builds, but part of me is like, I don't know how if this is like more fun. It's better and easier to do, but is it like more fun?
Yeah,
it's fun to get the pieces out, but it makes the build less fun.
Sure,
so it's kind of a weird.
I can see that.
A weird thing. Yeah. So why'd you bring this up though?
I bring this up because I feel like your knoll. If you were to knoll your bags, it would be. Like if you were to do it in like almost like a layered aspect where like, oh, the first layer of things I pull out goes in one row, and then the row above that is the things that were in those things. It's like your knoll would be it would be an upside down triangle. It would be like a upside down pyramid where it's like, oh yeah, there's like 2 bags in my bag. Like if I knolled my book bag, I'm taking 2 things out. But in each of those things are like 4 things, and then in one of those 4 things is like some further things, and like so like your knoll diagram, if you were to lay it out that way, would be really funky. And I think maybe that is maybe but why like that's my bro why
like why not just have it all in one thing?
Yeah,
because it's harder to retrieve any single item.
I get that,
and I like to know where everything is, and I feel like when everything has a place. It's more organized, but I will say that I've been a victim of creating so many places that like, I think there's a danger in things having multiple places though is the thing. And that's kind of the problem with this setup where like I dream of culling down, like we have a like leaving the house basket that's like also has like it has dividers in it. So it's like the keys go in one slot and then, but also those slots aren't like specific enough. I would love to remake that and make it a lot more like I saw this, dude where I'm like, okay, this is gonna like if I can bring this into my life, like that'll finally give me peace. It's like the truth is there's no peace. But where he's like big on like labeling everything, and we have a label maker also. I'd love to like eventually redo that going out bin where it's labeled like key, because right now there's like the keys is very specific, like the keys go in like one slot, like my keys, your keys. But then after that, it's kind of like my moisturizer, lip balm, icebreaker thing. It's like it kind of like everything kind of gets thrown in there. So I would love to like make it more compartmentalized and cleaner, and then maybe I can declutter also my like, because also like taking everything out makes it so that you can also like see everything and you know where things are versus like when you like pack a bag and then it's like I pack it and I unpack it the same way every time. Well, right now I feel like I kind of do leave things in that little bear pouch. Though also you may hate on the bear pouch, but 1, very cute. 2, complimented through TSA once on that. They're like, oh, what's this? This is so nice. I'm like, oh, I had put like little things in there. That makes it all worth it. And then the guy's like, oh yeah, that's like, he's like, oh, he wasn't like, that's weird. Yeah. But yeah, I think I do. I can take it too far, probably a little bit, but I love having like a bag with a couple of bags in it, and each bag has a story to tell. Okay. But yeah, my bags within bags. Yeah.
Right. Well, I feel like we got a little closer there. I understand you a little bit more.
All right, my next one is so we have this next theme is like food. I guess you should probably give the example because my example is fake and I think it makes you sound worse.
No,
than
yours
you are.
is very real.
Okay, so I'll read it. So
is...
Isaiah has what to me are unsettling food combinations. And by this I mean like this is my example. Isaiah will eat a peanut butter sandwich.
Peanut butter jelly?
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Which, I don't know if that helps or hurts.
And it'll be like on the side of his ramen noodles. Because he's like, oh, the ramen noodles were enough food for me. So what food am I adding? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm like, that's disgusting.
I don't understand what you mean.
Do you eat them separately though? Or do you eat them back to back? Are you taking one bite of one and then I can't admit there's no way you're eating a bite of the sandwich and then you're I refuse. Please tell me no.
I would if so realistically it's kind of like a all right, I'm gonna make myself some, little Maruchan, little, block of noodles. All right, cool, me eating my noodles. Finish my, oh man, I'm still hungry. Or like partway through, like, I'm still kind of hungry. Or like, I know this isn't gonna be enough. I'll go and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I'm already like most of the way through, if not fully done with the noodles by the time I make my peanut butter and jelly sandwich in this hypothetical situation. So it's usually not a like, a slurp of noodles.
The sandwich
no, I'm not dipping the sandwich in the soup.
That's what I mean. Like you don't
like
combine foods nastily, but you pair foods nastily to me.
Okay.
You'll be like, I have a bowl of soup and then I have like a bowl of ice cream. I'm like, why are these together?
I wanted soup and then afterwards I want some ice cream. I want a nice cool dessert.
That's nasty. And in my mind, that's how you get churro, which if you're Mexican, that's like, the shits basically. It's like by like the hot and the cold.
I don't understand why stuff. This is quintessential. Why do you care? Like, I don't understand how it's weird. I'm eating a food and then I think in my mind, it's like in your body, the foods are touching though, and they're mixing. Like your body can't separate. Spoiler alert, that happens with all the food you eat.
Well,
ever.
Yeah, but like there's some time in between. It's almost like don't go swimming after you eat or whatever. Like wait 30 minutes. It's like you can't. In my mind, like. Maybe this isn't a perfect example, but it's like, why are we eating like a plate, like a taco dinner, and then we're eating like a cake right after? It's like, these are like, they're too far apart. Like, I think when you lay out foods and like how they hang out together, like pairing foods, it's like they are too far apart.
To be next to each other in your stomach, in your
Now, I will say, I know some people will argue, well, like, isn't dessert like kind of like that too? It's like, but there's certain dessert, and that's why there's certain meals that like get dessert. Like, there's not really... Yeah, like, I don't know. I guess you could have flan after having like a taco dinner, but it's just kind of like the taco dinner is kind of already filling as well. So it's like, why would you,
First of all, tacos are not filling.
Taco dinner. So a taco dinner has like the tacos and then you have the rice and like the, whatever.
Fair.
I could get full off of tacos if I eat the right amount of them.
I gotta eat a lot of tacos for me to get full. But I'm a big boy.
That sounds great though.
I'm a big boy. It does.
I've always wanted to be able to eat more tacos.
Or I eat a taco and a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, like
and ramen.
It's like, oh, well, like taco, it's like, oh, that's meat and stuff like that. And then it's like, now we have this sweet, like, or like with the soup, the ramen and like the peanut butter sandwich. It's like, well, that's like a hot soup. And now we have like, and also usually it's like, it's either chicken flavored or maybe it's like spicy. And then there's like the sweetness of like the peanut butter and jelly that just feel like
savory, sweet and savory,
It's like people that eat like drink, which I know some people do this. It's like you have a glass of milk with your steak dinner. Like I think that's nasty. Like it's like they're too far apart. Versus like, there are times where a sandwich can go with a soup, like the grilled cheese and the tomato thing I had. It's like, oh, that's a good pairing. Like they complement each other. This is a bad pairing to me. And even though you're not like eating them, like I'm taking a bite of one and then a bite of another.
Yeah, I'm not mixing the flavors in my mouth, but I am back and forthing.
Yeah, I think your body though is like, that's like nasty to me because it's like your body is mixed. It's like it doesn't know what's going on. It's like, why are we eating this together?
But once you've swallowed the food, it's not.
I feel like
I think
the flavor does linger in your mouth.
No, I'm taking swigs of my water or and
I just feel like they're incompatible. So inside of you they will, and that's why it's like you're gonna get like with weird food pairings we would say like you're gonna get churro because it's like your body's gonna reject these combos.
My body enjoys a delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich at any point, as well as delicious. The thing is,
hey, let's bring your toilet on the show and they can speak for it. But yeah, so to you, it's just like your thing is that they're all just food.
Yeah, again, I think as long as it's not a mixing, like I'm not dipping my peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the ramen soup and then taking a bite of the sandwich or anything like that, or like, I think as long as, to me, it's not weird because I'm consuming it as traditional, like as normal as intended.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it next to and then consuming something
For me,
else.
on the
So it's
nasty
like, there's a
scale, it
separation
is
there.
definitely different than you like if you dipped your peanut butter sandwich
That's-
into ramen
that's-
noodles,
yeah, that's
we would
too
not be
far.
together. This show would not exist because I don't think I could like,
Yeah, no,
you know, we're all
understandable.
flawed, but it's like we got to draw lines somewhere. You know what I mean? Some flaws are worse than others. I think that would be like what's
That is
going
a
on with
mix
that.
that is very bizarre.
That is tough. But to me, they're only like in terms of nastiness, it's only a few notches down. Well, I think to you, they're like, oh, they're not even on the same conversation. I'm like, I think it's still kind of I guess for me, it's the difference between it being weird and it being full nasty. But part of why I think it's weird is because I think it's a little nasty. Like, because I feel like in your body, it's like you're eating them together.
I mean, I think
I'm not a scientist, but like,
yeah,
I feel like that's what's happening.
to kind of give, I guess, like some reasoning, like I did with the other thing, the labels thing. I think also part of it is probably just the way I was brought up. It's like, hey, you know, my parents, they bought groceries. We had noodles in the kitchen. We had bread. We had peanut butter, and we had jelly. And it's like, all right, make yourself some noodles. And if you're still hungry, find something else to eat. And it was like, all right, well, I don't want another pack of noodles. That's too many noodles.
I think it's the fact that they're not necessarily back
sandwich.
to back. Like, I have seen you, not again, the noodles, peanut butter, jelly sandwich, that's kind of a made up example. Maybe you have done that, maybe you haven't. I've seen you walk to the table with both of so it's like, and I kind of get it in a sense that you're like, well, I already know it's not going to be enough food for me.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, to me, if I ate ramen noodles and I was like, I'm so hungry, I'm going to make myself a sandwich, that's more of like, oh, I'm moving on to the next thing. The fact that you're like, this is my meal, it's like, imagine if at a restaurant they brought out a roll of ramen noodles and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's like, I can understand that happening to you. I can't understand you premeditating into that. That's where it breaks for me.
You know, I say try it before you knock it. All right.
I don't want to try it.
You know, we got lunch
I'll
after
just
this.
be hungry.
Let's
at
make
that
some.
point.
Let's make some noodles. I'll make a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You take some. You know, take a bite, a couple spoons or forks of noodles, and then you take a bite of the sandwich.
No.
See how it feels to go back and forth. Right?
I don't want to go back and
You
forth.
get sweet and savory back and forth.
I don't want to go back and forth.
It's great.
And the thing is, the truth is, sometimes when you order like funky combos, you're like, let's see how this is. And sometimes it actually is. It is nasty.
Yeah.
It's as nasty as you think it is.
Yeah.
But I doubt this will be the deep fried Oreo of
You also, oh man,
of snacks.
Oreos,
So good. We got to make those again. But you have your own
I have my own
beef with my foods.
weird mixing beef with you, and it's a lack of mixing. Actually, it's like the opposite of my issue, where I'm all like, yeah, let's just throw everything together,
segregation,
do
yeah.
whatever, cool. You're like, no. So you have this thing where, and I'm gonna use old in a sense of just like already opened, like a open container of thing, and then a new as in like a unopened container of thing. You do not like mixing old and new of the same food when like making or eating or doing whatever. So as an example of this, right? Say we're gonna have a bowl of cereal, right? You know, you take out your Fruit Loops or whatever, you pour them in the bowl, and I hand you milk, and there's not enough milk of the open container. You will not finish that open milk and then open new milk and then top off your bowl to the desired milk. You'll leave the open milk alone, open a new container of milk so that all of your milk is from the same container, even though both milks are good and you know they're not spoiled, they're well within their best by dates and all that stuff. It's just you don't like the idea of mixing this milk with this milk. But you will do that if, for example, I don't know, we're making like mac and cheese or something like that.
Was what I was thinking of, yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, I bought two, or we have like a unopened 8-ounce thing of cheese, and we actually need 16. All right, let me go to the store and get another 8-ounce. You have no problem, I think, mixing those two unopened 8 ounces of things. So it's not like everything has to come from one container.
I think the thing is, with
like
milk specifically, milk just, in general, it all comes down to milk. Milk just low-key nasty to begin with. And I know people are going to get on the show and be like, I didn't realize you were so anti-milk. And I'm a little anti-milk, I got to admit. But I did grow up drinking milk, you know, like any other child. And I drank as much as I could. Didn't end up growing big and strong. So first of all, I got scammed. Milk was a scam.
Well, have you broken a bone?
No, never.
Well, there you go. That's what they say. Bones will be nice and strong.
I used to even drink like warm white milk. Like we'd heat up the milk in the microwave and I drink it. And
I tried that.
I always hated the film that would. Even as a kid, I hate that
Yeah.
nasty film. I would like drag my finger off the top of it and throw the film away because it was gross.
Yeah.
But I stopped drinking it when I drank it once and I threw up in the living room watching Toy Story and I never drank warm milk again.
Gross.
Yeah, it's like it was haunting. Honestly, it was traumatic. So. Yeah, I think something about like I think milk, it's so easy for it to spoil and it like I don't know, something about like them mixing together is kind of gross to me. I have started to move on from that. Maybe I haven't fully recovered, but I have tried to like be like, you know what? I'm going to mix this stuff up. Near this, you didn't have this, but this is also a similar hang up to me. The Best Buy date is tough for me to consume after. I just psychologically, I'm like, I'm gonna die. If I eat this.
And that's one thing I really wish we as a nation, one of the many things which we as a nation got behind and fixed. But like standardize what these dates are and what they mean. There's a Best Buy date, there's a sell by date, there's a expiration date. Like there's like 3 different dates that there's sometimes you don't even get a date on the thing. It rubs off or it's on a sticker that you can't read because the printing is all bad. And everything. Yeah, exactly. See?
I've had to like, what's the word? With exposure therapy. I've had to exposure therapy myself to some of these things where you're like, you got to start. I mean, you don't really push me to mix this stuff.
No.
It's like, I've started to be like, you know what? Let's have the orange juice from 2 separate places. I also feel, well, here's also something that blows me as well. If the milks are like different brands or things, so there's the cheese. Yeah, at least with the cheeses, it's like, oh, if you get like we shop at Smart and Final, their brand is First Street, like a First Street pack of cheese and the First Street pack of cheese, the same cheeses. Something I don't rock with is they got to be the same type of cheeses. If it's like sharp cheddar, both sharp cheddar, don't give me sharp cheddar and the medium cheddar because now I feel like unless we're intending to mix like the flavors because now all the flavors are all mixing together.
You cannot convince me that sharp cheddar and medium cheddar taste different. They might behave different when a melting point kind of thing. If you're making mac and cheese or something like that, maybe one melts better than the other. I hand you a piece of sharp cheddar and a piece of medium cheddar. I'm not hearing that. You can taste the difference.
I don't know, but I am more into cheese.
Which one is out? I'm just not hearing that. I will be floored if that is the case.
The blind test of the double blind on the cheeses. Yeah. So it just feels like for me, it just feels like they are. How do I explain this? I feel like it's just inherently they're not the same. So it's like the fact that we're mixing them together. We're like compromising the bowl, is kind of what I think. It's almost like, I don't know. Man. I'm trying to think if there's another example of like kind of this or a way I can convey the feeling.
But you don't have that with like all foods. Like if you.
No, it's just, I feel like dairy is so like delicate that it's just like, I don't know. We're like mixing.
I don't think you'd have that with like chips, right? It's like,
chips.
Opened up. Let's finish off these Doritos and then open up the new bag.
Though I do know that in my head that like one is inherently staler than the other, but it's like that's just kind of going to be what it's going to be because they all kind of mix together. Like if we're just like we're setting up a bowl of chips and we use the half open bag and then we top it off. That's just like, well, now we have some stale chips and some not stale chips. But I feel like chips, it's such an individual food. Like I eat a chip, it's like, or I take a handful of chips and then it's kind of a wash. Mm-hmm. Here it's like. There is no separation. Like it's all just together now. Like while I think I've gotten to the point where I can mix the milks, like the thought of like, give me a glass of milk poured from 6 different deliveries of different like school milks. It's like, I feel like that's a
even
little
if they're
weird.
all good, like they're all.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like there's gotta be a better way. So I don't have a great justification for it. It just kind of feels like,
all right.
Why are they all like mixing together? Like, I don't know. Like, why is it all mixing together?
All right. Hey, I guess
it's not the best answer, but
I can learn from it.
For here, I know you're gonna have some great rationale, but I'm just gonna like throw this out there. The fact that you have your text chime, we have Macs and iPhones. Isaiah has his text chimes to sound on his laptop, so while he's working, I'll just hear ding, ding. I know I'm losing my voice here. Ding. It's like bing. And then also, same category in my opinion. I don't know if you still have it set, but for when we first met, you would have the flashlight notification for your text messages, where if you're not familiar with this, it means like when you get a text, the flashlight on your phone goes blah, blah, blah. You know, kind of just doesn't have a sound for it, but it's like, shoom. Yeah. Why? I find this to be immensely and perpetually distracting to the point where, you know, we're in a group chat with like my brother and stuff. And so, or sometimes maybe I'll text something if you're working and it's like, oh, I want to remind this. It's to the point where I don't even want to message you because I know I'm going to hear it a second later. And yeah, how can you live with so much noise in your and lights, such bright lights and loud sounds all the time?
No, it's all really good. You're not gonna like this. It's not too terrible.
You block it out. You don't perceive it. I'm so scared.
I don't think you're gonna like this as much as you can understand other things. So for me, is specifically, and this is I think mostly just to my laptop specifically. Okay. Like my phone is on silent. I do have the flash. I have the flash because I have it on silence. And if my phone's on the counter, I'm not gonna hear it. And I'm not going to feel it because it's not on me, but at least I can like maybe catch the flash in the corner of my eye and know that like, oh, somebody's calling or texting or doing whatever. So that's like a personal accessibility kind of thing. But for the laptop, I think so it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe this is like just a millennial thing, right? But there's like the whole laptop activities and then like phone activities.
Sure.
My laptop activities are generally in the zone things, right? Like I'm either working, I'm coding something or designing something or following along with some video. Like I'm already hurting for screen real estate usually when I'm on my laptop. And so first of all, I don't want notifications jumping up. Like I don't want anything jumping from the little taskbar at the bottom or coming over to the side in the corner. I hate those. I try to turn off every one that I can and somehow I still miss some. I don't want those. I want to be able to see everything I'm doing. But because of that, if I'm in a conversation with you or on a Slack at work or something like that, I need to be able to like know when someone's pinging me. And the audio then is like the only thing I have to reach for. If I don't want a visual alert when somebody messages me and my laptop can't vibrate. If my laptop could vibrate, oh man, we'd be set. It'd just be on silent and it'd be great. But because it can't, I then leave the audio chimes on so that I know when someone's like pinging me on Slack or messaging me or something like that. Now, is this the best scenario? No, this isn't something that I like either. This isn't a...
Are you even, here's the thing, are you even responding to all these things? Because I feel like you just get them and then they're just like, I'm gonna be real. Like I've texted you plenty of times and like you do not respond. So like why are you suddenly you're like I want to know that I'm not responding to something. I feel like is where you end up.
A lot of the things that I need to get pinged about aren't necessarily always messages as much as alerts or notifications that things happen too. Right? If like again doing web development, it's like I merged in some changes, but the build failed. I need to know that the build failed, so that's a really weird thing to say, that the build failed so that I could then like go back and fix a bug or do whatever and like I can respond to it. Messages too, right? Like I'll do like automated. Most of the time I find out that the build failed is through like a Discord notification because like we have automatic notification stuff there. So it's like, oh, something succeeded or failed. We might notify certain channels. I can leave alerts and notifications on for those things and be alerted appropriately. So unfortunately, it is for the reason that the reason you hate it is because it alerts you and you have to hear it and this, that, and the third. But that is solely why I have it on, is so that I can know that it happened. And
I can live with like Slack, Discord, because like that makes sense, work, whatever. Why like I feel like you are the most aware of your messages, but you don't really be like responding.
I read them all though. That's the thing. Wait. What kind of villain is this? I want to immediately be able to
leave people on red. No, this man's leaving people on red.
No.
And like half a second time.
I feel like it's not being left on red if you're not asking me a question. It's just you're just informing me of something. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just like everything else. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I'll maybe give a thumbs up every once in a while. I don't always reply and say, oh, okay, cool. Or anything like, I'll just, all right, cool. I read it. But I also don't like read receipts. So it's
And why is that? Because you know that people are gonna be like, "Wow, Isaiah just leaving people on red, left, and right."
Because I know people will feel that way.
And then I actually feel like you end up. So the reason I don't do that stuff with like text, because like, you know, texting is not part of my work, which it's not part of yours either. It seems for the most part. So like I don't have like the noise on, because it's like I just check my phone periodically, and it's like, do I have some texts? Or do I want to text somebody? Sure. And I'll open the little thing. I have the stamps on now. You know, sometimes I don't do the badges, but I have badges on.
Yeah, I love badges.
So I can see on my phone, like when someone texted me. If I'm working on something, I check my texts either when I'm done working, maybe if I take a break, go to the bathroom or something, I'll look to see, did I got anything? Yes, no, maybe so. What I feel like knowing in the moment is actually why you probably don't reply, because you're like, well, I already read. You don't have that anymore. There's something that you don't have a reason to reply. You're like, I already read it. In your mind, you already replied, but you didn't reply. Yeah, so
I can try and find an improved version.
It's just
of
like
this.
to me, it's wild to be like, I am ready to hear these messages to then not reply. I guess the fact that you read them does make it better. I didn't know that you were also reading them. I just assumed you're just ignoring them.
Very rarely is it like I didn't read it and I didn't see it kind of thing. Sometimes it does happen, especially like for longer threads or something. Like if I'm coming back to the group chat after a while, to be honest, I might not scroll all the way back up and then catch up. Sometimes I'll just scroll like one little thumb slide, see what the most recent context the conversation is, and just keep going from there. So I can try to be better though. That's fair, because it is annoying, but it's intentionally annoying. I can try and find a different.
But I also feel like it doesn't like annoy you.
No,
so it's
doesn't.
Just like I just feel like I get like, you're like, this is great, and I'm like, this is hell. The flashlight's similar. I always hated the flashlights. I used to teach high school, and like my kids having the big flashlight going off every 2 seconds. I'm like, bro, like this is like the most annoying way to get a notification. I actually don't have anything on for my phone, because I was sort of also conditioned out of the vibrate, because I used to, when you're a kid, if you had a phone as a kid, you would text like all the time. Like all I would do is like, I think back on my life and I'm like, how was I able to get anything done when I was like texting my friends every 2 seconds, like forever, like high school and college. Well, now it's like I have friends where it's like, oh yeah, like I haven't talked to them in a couple months. It's like I gotta get back to that. Yeah, like the vibrate used to be really loud back in the day, and it would annoy my brother Edwin. So I put it on silent, because he would just get annoyed at like, oh my god, like every 2 seconds. And I guess I caught his annoyance, and now my annoyance is the like every 2 seconds like up. I think also too, it's definitely like part of it is the fact that it is also just the iPhone chime. So it's like I'm also like, is that me? Oh no, it's not me, because I would never have my sound on. That's got to be Isaiah.
Yeah.
Getting his like pings with ding, ding, ding. Anyway. So that's one of mine. You have a tech one as well, which I'm thrilled to bring to the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't understand. As a tech person, I hate this. But I understand why. To power off the computer, you just hold the power button and like force shut it down.
Specifically the piece, the Mac that we have.
Well, you said you do it for the gaming PC too.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So just any computer, you just do that. I feel like if you had access to the buttons better, you'd do it for consoles as well.
I mean, I'm already holding the controller usually when I'm kind of
You're already at the mouse and keyboard. That doesn't stop you.
Well, the reason I do it finish speaking on your, why does this bother you? Because I had no idea. Like I had no idea this was like a faux pas in the tech community. One day Isaiah saw me shine the computer, and he was like, "Oh, you would have thought that I was choking the computer out."
I think like
or pulling the cord or whatever.
Unless something is like frozen or busted or bugged, you should not be shutting down that way, because it is like a step above just pulling the cord and like pulling the power out. You are smothering
this is
the computer.
This is your peanut butter ramen.
No, because I still argue.
No, but like inverted.
Yeah,
like
sure.
It's like how I feel about like that's nasty. It's like you're like that's like a crime. Is it really bad for the technology though? Or is it just bad for your mind?
My thing is computers are doing so much. It's doing so much behind the scenes that it could be like writing a file or saving a setting or accessing this memory or doing whatever. And usually in an ideal world, you holding the button signals to the computer, hey, we're going to be shutting down soon. Programs, do whatever you need to do so we can shut down. And then you shut down. In an ideal world, that is the case. In an ideal world, it does no harm. But we don't live in an ideal world. Sometimes programs are doing stuff that takes longer. They're trying to save something to the file and, you know, write a save a file kind of thing or something, doing whatever. Or maybe you have a program that's open and like it's in the middle of processing something or doing something and you just shut it down willy-nilly without closing the application to shut it down. It's kind of like the whole like ejecting before you take out like a hard drive on the Mac. It's like, do you need to do that anymore? Generally, no, but technically it is still safer to eject.
I feel like if
before
the computer,
you unplug a hard drive.
The computer should have said something because the computer's never like with the PlayStation. I know people hate this too with the PlayStation.
Oh,
PlayStation's like, you turned me off badly.
I feel like you're doing that. That is what you are effectively doing.
So is the PC just like a toxic old man that was like, back in my day we didn't go to therapy? You know, is that the PC's attitude basically?
Well, it'll warn you sometimes. I know like Windows used to do it. I guess I don't know. I don't really use Windows
the
like
Mac
that now.
been quiet.
So. Mac be quiet.
Now, I will say with my laptop, I don't do that because I don't think they have a traditional power button anymore. It's like just like the touchy button thing. And okay, that's what that button does. It brings up the accessibility shortcuts, which is cool, I guess. I don't think I really ever shut down my laptop anymore. I used to be like, oh, I should shut it down just to like give it a break, you know? And now I'm like, I don't really do that. I just close it. And it just runs forever like my phone, where it's like the phone shuts down when like it's like begging to be put out of its misery. And I'm like, something's wrong. I guess I'll turn it off for the first time in 3 years and then turn it back on. Yeah, like I didn't really think it was that deep. The reason I don't shut down so we have a gaming PC and the Mac computer that runs like the streams. So it's like, oh, everything's separate or whatever. And then consoles, same deal. With the console, I have like the controller is essentially a remote. So it's like, oh, I can just shut it down there. So it's like, cool. And also if I forget to shut it down, it just goes to sleep. So it's like, okay, whatever. Not that big a deal. Again, the PlayStation will cry like you unplugged me.
The Mac will do that too. You can just leave it.
It will go to sleep. But I do like to shut it down because it's like, I actually like to shut down most of my devices except for the laptop and the phone. So like I shut down the PS5, you know, when I'm done playing. If I forget, it's like, okay, well, I'll just go to sleep. If I forget, whatever. And I've forgotten sometimes for the Mac as well. But the reason I just hard shut down the PC is that usually it's like context I'm streaming. So it's like I finish the stream, whatever. I'm getting up from my setup, you know, which is basically here where we're sitting now. And then I'm like uploading stuff. And then while I'm doing that and I'm shutting everything down, I'm like holding down those buttons to like shut everything down. Like we're turning stuff off. It's kind of like how I flip the light switch off. Like I don't think like I have to go to Apple logo shut down light because it's like the light doesn't function that way. I just turn it off. For these lights, I press the button. If I had a remote, I would just press it from the remote, but I don't. So in my mind, genuinely going to Apple shut down is the same as holding the button, which I guess you're saying it's not because it gives you a second to say like, do you want to close these programs? And like the button doesn't let you say, do you want to close these programs? Is that what's different?
The button will turn off the computer.
Yeah.
The shutdown, like if you hold it, it will turn it off in however long. It's like an override. It's like a, you know, system override kind of thing. The Apple shutdown will at least like offer programs a chance to gracefully shut down and do things. Now, what we can do as a mix, which I think you can do in the settings, is you can set it so that by just pressing the button, it'll go through the Apple system shutdown process. I can live with that because maybe you just like the tactile feeling.
I do kind of like it. It's
I
like
can
also
give you that.
The thing with which is I know it's gonna make you upset, but the reason I like just hitting the button is I hit the button and it's done. You know, like when I hit shut down, they're like, oh, you have a note open from 2 days ago. Do you want me to? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, all I usually hit, like when I hit shut down, it'll say like, oh, are you sure you want to shut down whatever? And I'll just hit shut down. Like, I don't really like close whatever. Like, I've never really had something where I'm like, oh, I can't close this yet. Like if I have that, I'm just like walking away from the computer and like when I upload like the YouTube videos, it's like, oh, I have to let those upload. And sometimes I even tell you like, hey, I'm uploading something, like don't turn it off because like it's uploading. But yeah, we have so many programs also that are open all the time because it's like, oh, well, the Discord opens for like my job stuff and then the Stream Deck open. Like I don't want every 2 seconds it asking me like, oh, like what's up, and then I have to reboot those.
Well, that's the thing too. You don't shut down. Like you don't close these applications. You just hold the button. You just kill the computer.
But I don't need to close because I'm going to need them when I turn back on. So it's like I don't want to be like. I feel like it's.
That's even more reason like why you should gracefully shut down.
Like closing it all down. It's so dramatic. Okay, so that's mine. That's my situation. Do you feel like you understand me a bit
I
more?
think
or
we can
and it's nice because you hold it for a while,
middle ground.
and then it goes,
I don't understand.
I'm dead now. And it's like, yay, it's all done.
I was just learning.
It's done really
low.
quick. And it's like you hold it.
Yeah.
It's like a nice long press.
You're right. That is all true.
I'm like, shh, go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like I like doing that. Yeah. And also, I guess in my mind, it's not bad because like when I turn it on, I also hold that button. There's not like a.
You don't need to hold it. You can just press it.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like it's the same way I turn it on. So it's like.
In fact, most of the time, like the PlayStation, holding it actually like boots it into like a different mode, like a recovery mode. Anyways, I don't understand you anymore at all, but I do think there's a possibility for a middle ground for us. So that's nice.
Do we want to do one more, or do we want to?
I think we do maybe one more, just really quick.
Okay, cool. Mine's super quick because it's like barely anything. I just kind of wanted to think of a fourth. We sing a lot in this household.
Mm-hmm.
We'll like sing random songs that stuck in our head. We'll make up songs. I make up a lot of songs. I'd love to make an album one day. They're all dumb songs. They're like silly little like it's breakfast sandwich day. Yeah. Like it's like silly little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll make up. And you'll do the same sometimes. And one of the ones that you made one day was the It's Time to Get Up song.
I didn't make it up.
Oh, did I make it up?
No.
Oh.
I got this from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh, it's from Dexter's Laboratory?
It's from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh my God. That's almost scarier that this existed.
If you remember the Omelette du Fromage episode of Dexter's Laboratory, Dee Dee sings "It's All You Can Say, It's All You Can Say" at the end of the episode. And I just took that, and in that melody, I say, "It's time to get up. It's time to get up," and that's like how I would love to wake you up
Hatch,
every day.
If you're listening to this, reach out. You might have to. We have copyright issues with Cartoon Network, I guess, from that reason. But maybe we can make a legally distinct version. Have Isaiah do this for a bag or whatever. This Isaiah sang this through maybe like 3 times total before I said, "Don't you ever say this to me again." It is, and I'm curious, all y'all listening, what you think of it. Is like, oh no, it's cute or it's sweet. I find it to be the most annoying, most grating thing. And I will say, it is effective at getting you up. Like, no, literally, I'm like, I will pay you $5, $500, whatever it takes. Like, I don't want to hear it. It is like nails on a chalkboard.
And you know what? This is how I hear Baby Mario in Yoshi's Island, is the "all you can say." That's how when he's screaming. Maybe that's why I never gravitated towards the game.
It's like really a genuinely really annoying melody. So
I don't even think that's a bro why. I think that's just
you just thought like it's a fun little jingle, and I'm like, this is the devil's work.
It is a functional jingle. It's not a fun jingle. It's fun to sing because it gets to you, but it gets to you because it is designed to get to you.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, don't. It's like the that meme that was like, POV, you're in therapy, and they bring up, it'll be like something traumatic for you, so it'll be, but usually it's like lighthearted trauma, so it was like, and then they bring out the long text you sent to your ex or something like that. It's like, POV, you're in therapy, and they sing the "It's Time to Get Up" song, or I think it's like, the meme format is POV, your card declined for therapy, so they like, it's like almost like torture or whatever. That's mine. What's your last nod?
Mine is, which again, totally understand. It could be a hassle sometimes, but your over beef, like your extreme beef with
visceral hatred.
Apple products. Yeah. HomePod and Apple Calendar are the primary. You've come around on Apple Maps a little bit.
I had
you've
to.
started using it.
Google Maps started grifting.
Yeah.
Which is like a horrifying sentence, but
the HomePod, I love the HomePod, and I think it's crazy that you don't like the HomePod. And then Apple Calendar, which is just, to me, is just so good if you're in the Apple ecosystem. Everything's already right there. Why do you have this this beef with it?
Is that what you're asking me? Okay, so Apple Calendar, I have a very good reason. I cannot get it to work correctly. Whenever Isaiah invites me to something on Apple Calendar, I'll hit accept, and then my Apple Calendar app on my laptop will ask me literally 32 more times. Each time I will hit accept, and it's like, hey, by the way, Buffalo wedding May. I'm like, oh hey, yeah, accept. It's like 2 days later, hey, Isaiah got an invite for you. I hit accept already. And I feel like whenever I open the thing, they're like, you have 302 unresponded invites. I hit accept on all of these. So that's my beef with Apple Calendar.
Okay.
I don't know why it does that for me.
All right, maybe we can look into that.
Yeah, but I gotta be honest, I don't even want the fix. I just want to stay away. I use Google Calendar. I know, like, as I say, you can sync them, but
That's
all
what
my
I do.
work is done
my
from Google
account is a
Calendar.
Google account. It's just synced to Apple
Yeah,
Calendar.
I feel like my calendar is like my safe space. I don't want Apple puke and its Apple guts all over it. The HomePod. Let me try that. I gotta be quiet when I say it because I'm worried it'll hear me. I feel like what's a good name for this? What's like a name for like what Siri is?
What is it? The
Virtual
digital
assistant?
Virtual assistant, yeah.
So the virtual assistant to me functions a lot of times as poorly as like the OG touchscreens did, where it's like wildly inconsistent. You'll hear people who have like in HomePods the same thing, HomePod, or like I think there's something else that Apple makes that maybe it's just HomePod.
I think Apple only makes the HomePod, but there's
there's
the Alexa.
Opod, there's HomePod. There's the one that Bezos makes. I don't want to say the name because that one is sensitive to anyone saying it. Whenever you see someone interact with this device, they become the dumbest person on earth, I feel like, because they'll literally be like, we'll call it Davey because I don't want to trigger anyone's anything. Davey, get the lights. It's like they have a shitty kid. Davey, lights, no, Davey, no, the lights, the lights.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, ordering lights? And I'm like, what's going on? So the way you use HomePod is obviously a lot more limited. It's basically just for like music. It's like a little music thing. But I feel like I'll tell HomePod to play anything. And then I'll be like, HomePod, play GNX. And they'll be like, playing To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick. I'm like, what's going on? Like, or like play. They're like, oh, we played a song, not like the album. Like it just was like, oh, do you mean the clean version? Like, I feel like HomePod is like if you got a literal assistant, but off of Fiverr. No shade to the good assistants on Fiverr. I'm sure you're out there. It's hard. The gig economy stuff out there, but it's like it is like they're just whack. They're bad at their job. I can't stand a piece of technology that like you're not ready. You're not ready. You can't. You're not helping. You got to stay away. Like a piece of like people making mistakes. That's regular technology. Get out of here. In the dumpster. So the HomePod. That's my beef with HomePod. And you've seen in real time. For some reason, HomePod listens to you. HomePod doesn't listen to me. It's like when you have a kid in that one. It's like, oh, the kid's great around you, but like he treats me like trash. Like the HomePod hates women. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Yeah.
Wow. So hating.
Yeah. I guess she is. I don't know. She's a fucking pick me ass HomePod. I dream of a future
where
we can, because like I love like just for funsies we like looked at some houses at one point just to be like what are the vibes, and like that one house we saw that had like the speakers all throughout the house. I know audiophiles would be like that's trash audio, but like it is. I'm not that picky about it, so it's like the ability to like put on a song and let it play in the living room and the kitchen and the whatever, like that's really cool, like to me. And I know the HomePod.
Get some HomePods, we can do it. Yeah.
I know we set 8 HomePods up and they can all talk to each other and they can put them in a circle and they kiss or whatever. But like, I do dream of that future. But like with how HomePod's behaving, it's like I don't think HomePod's ready to have another HomePod to talk to.
Maybe Apple will eventually get their stuff in order and persuade you to give it another shot.
Yeah, it's got a nice shape to it. I like the little mesh.
It's not. It doesn't behave and work the greatest. If you cast to it, that's when it's shining. That's when it's the best. But that's fair.
Yeah.
Interacting, talking to it is rough.
So these are our how do I label it? Things we do that the other doesn't understand, aka bro why / why do you care?
Yeah.
Let us know, online in the comments, wherever. What do you have with your partner, roommate, person in your life? Because I feel like everyone has these where it's like not quite pet peeve, not like objectively bad. But
it's just like I don't understand why you do it.
It's like, why do you, why do you crack open the Tide Pods before you play them in the laundry detergent or something, something weird where it's like, it's kind of like you're not doing harm, but you're upsetting me. That's what we're looking for. So, I'm glad honestly, this was less contentious than our gaming section was.
No, it's therapeutic,
Yeah, this I felt less frustrated by any of these than your take on Yoshi's Island, which I think is dastardly. And finally, we got the poll of the show. Last week, we did our poll as usual on gamesandnotgames.com/poll, which is the new interface that Isaiah had set up, which is working great. Got a lot of cool responses. And the question was, how many games have you beaten this year so far? And you could just select whatever number,
write in
and like
however- whatever
you
the
know,
number.
we're not no longer limited to these giant 0 to 1 to 3 to whatever.
Yeah. Free form entry here now.
Yeah, so now we
For
can get the
when it
real like this is really becoming a science at this point. We are what do they call it?
Scientists?
No, like statisticians or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. There we go. That's us. So the results are in. We got a couple. It didn't populate in the graph, but we got 6 people that have beaten no games. Shout out because I need to feel like I'm really really pulling ahead here. We got make sure I'm reading this right.
5?
Is that 9 for 1 or
5?
5 for 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the file, the
file.
doc has it easier to read.
Oh. What do you mean? Maybe you should read these.
All right,
now,
yeah,
I'm
sure.
thinking, now I'm thinking I have a display that's a little funky.
So at 0 games, we have 6 people. At 1 game, we have 5 people. 3 people at 2 games. 2 people at 3 games. And it's just kind of, there is a little bump where we have 3 people at 5 games and 3 people at 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then concerningly, there's 1 person at 9 games.
Okay, now I can read the graph.
And 2 people at 12 games. I don't know what. I'm afraid of these people. I don't know who you are. Thank you for being here. Glad you're here and on our side.
I wonder if they're like friends.
I'm terrified. Yeah, maybe it's like a co-op, like 12 co-op games together.
Or
they're playing
like,
together.
They're going band for band or something.
Yeah.
Now I can read the chart. So our most popular answer was still 0, 22.2%.
Yeah. Second most popular, 1 game, which I think totally tracks. That is a fair and reasonable. It's still January, February, like it's earlier beginning of the year. The fact that and games are meatier and meatier now than ever before. The fact that most people probably only beat like 4 to 6 games a year. Hey, I think 0 to 1 is a totally respectable number right now.
I'm with the 7.4% at 2, or at 4. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then where did you land again? Did you
I think I was
last
at
week?
5, so I'm with the 11%.
Yeah. Okay.
At
There
5.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know where you land. It's never too late to chime in. But for responses, we asked, what is the next game you'll likely beat? Good amount of Citizen Sleeper 2 in there, which I have not started it, but I do want to beat that as well. Had at least 2. I'm just gonna see if there's more. People talk about looking forward to Avowed, so they have their eyes on like upcoming releases that are gonna hit. What's the next like upcoming release that you're excited for? Do you think?
Ooh, I mean, probably something we saw at the Xbox showcase, the developer direct. Maybe like a South of Midnight. That's like April, right?
Yeah, South of
Doom.
Midnight.
I know for sure.
I forget the date
But
offhand.
Doom,
Of
I
South
think
of
is
Midnight.
later. So, yeah, no, something from there for sure.
I'm looking forward to that Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which I think is still set for like February 18th.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something around there. Yeah, so that's probably my next big one, but I might be missing a couple. And I'm definitely behind on literally all the games. So yeah, Citizen Sleeper 2 is definitely in there.
A really quick shout out to one person who wrote in with their what do you think you'll be beating next? Is it Watch Dogs 2? Basically they're going through and trying to finish some like unfinished trophy lists that they had. And I was like, you know what? I respect that.
I heard Watch Dogs 2 is good. Did you play it?
No, I've wanted to play all the Watch Dogs and just hadn't gotten around to it. So it's on my backlog, just a matter of getting to
I low-key like vibed with Legion, which is like the one everyone hated. They're like, that's like the
'cause you
worst
could be like
one.
little grandma and like
Yeah,
a secret grandma spy.
People were mad because it's like it wasn't as like thoroughly immersive as like you might think it is. It's like, I wouldn't say it's they're just like skins, but it's like not that wild to like you can be anybody kind of thing. But it definitely I had some fun with it. I didn't beat it though, so maybe I wasn't enjoying it as much as I remember I was. Also shout out to the person who says they're on the final boss of Lies of P. Which was also an Avowed person. But yeah, Lies of P, would love to finish that one day. I'm scared because I know it gets harder as you go. I do know the game is easier than it was pre-release because they've patched in some like stuff to make it a little easier at times.
Ooh, okay.
So it's like, I love a Souls game where the patches make the game easier, which Elden Ring technically also did. Their like later patches kind of tuned some stuff to make it a little easier. But yeah, that's a cool one. Also want to give a nod to the Creatures of Ava person. I would love to go back and finish that game.
Would I like that game?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. No offense to Creatures of Ava. I don't think it's that good of a game. But I do think it's like got some charm to it. It's about like you're sort of interacting with like creatures and sort of like, this is another kind of corruption game, I think, where you're like cleansing them. But it's like, oh, you shoot them to save them and like stuff. Like, I don't know. It's got some charm to it, but it's definitely giving 6 or 7 out of 10 that like I rock with just because like, oh, it's got some good vibes, but it's not necessarily, I think, structured in a way that's like, yo, y'all got to get in on this Creatures of Ava. It's more like, hey, you know what? I like that game. Yeah, I liked it. It was cool. Yeah. Metroid Prime Remastered, another shout. I need to play that because I never actually played Metroid Prime myself fully because it was first person and that
I think that
made me
we
unsettled
have
at
that
the time.
On the Switch.
I think we do. Yeah, I think I do have it.
I want to try it. I've never played the Metroid Primes.
Metroid Prime is great.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't really play, like I played a little bit of it, but I'm like, I don't know, like
I did a little bit of the DS one.
Be in first person.
But
that was when I was in my anti first person phase, which I had briefly in when first person was introduced. I was like, I don't know, like gun go boom, no thanks. And now I'm like, this is fine and regular.
Yeah, there's a couple of God of Wars in here. Both actually it's like a little gamut. There's a 2005 God of War, a 2018 God of War, and a Ragnarok. The people are working through.
They're all in the same book club. They're like different spots.
They started with different books.
I also I think the last one I want to shout out is one of the people that had 12 games. Their next game, Chibi Robo for the GameCube. This person is better than me. They have better tastes. They're like a refined gamer who's like, I wonder if that's also where they're getting no shade, no offense. Like I'm not trying to discount the 12 games, but I wonder if they're on like a retro run where they're like, I'm just eating up all these, which I think
that's pretty cool.
I mean, Chibi Robo is like not a short game. It's not crazy long. You can play it in one day if you have like a sicko day. That's what my colleagues at MinMax did. It's like 12 hours. And it's pretty cool looking. I was catching it on some of the gameplay. It kind of looks like
this guy.
It kind of looks like Pikmin if it was less like refined.
Yeah,
it's like what if Pikmin didn't run that well? It's a Chibi Robo. Like the gameplay is way different than like Pikmin, but it's like you're a little guy. You're in a room, and it's like room big, you small, fun. Like it's like okay, yeah. Like I really like that structure for games in general. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that guy's cute.
Yeah. Any other shouts you want to do for the what people have on their radar for next credit roll?
Someone said Baldur's Gate 3, and honestly, dog, I'm right there with you. All right, I'm waiting for us to get back to our campaigns,
our cursed campaign.
Yeah,
we like lost. Was it Karlak?
Yeah, we lost. Man, we can't recruit Karlak. She's angry at us.
She thinks we killed that town, but we didn't. We didn't. They died. Okay. They said, "What should I do?" I said, "I think you should square up." And apparently, they're not very good at fighting. So now that's on me.
Yeah.
Now it's like I killed them. So first of all, they just met me. Okay, like, and she wouldn't hear us out. Like, if she just listened to what we had to say, like, I'm sorry. Like, I encouraged them to fight, but like, I didn't think they would just all die.
Yeah, man. Well,
we avenged them. Actually, we fought the remaining people that were there. The fight was like half an hour. It didn't mean anything to her.
That was the poll from last episode. This week's episode poll is gonna be we're asking you for feedback and input into our time capsule decisions today. So you'll be able to vote on which of the options we brought would you have chose, and as well as write in as an optional answer of what game you would maybe suggest for the platforms we covered today. I think it would be cool to just kind of see how our community would fill their time capsule. I think that'll be something cool that we can do as we do some of the other platforms and stuff in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And that is it for this week. You can send us your questions and topics to the email inbox@gamesandnotgames.com. You can follow the podcast version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Please don't say it. Go ahead.
5 diamantes.
If you're an audio listener, remember that you can get the video version over on YouTube at Games and Not Games. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like and a comment, as it helps us get the show in front of more people. Be sure to follow us on social media. We're everywhere at Games and Not Games, mostly BlueSKy and Twitch, but we're on other platforms as well. And anything else? Till next time, gang.
Gang gang.
Peace.